Oh, oh. What's up? There's nobody watching yet. Check. We are having internet issues, and Flip might not be here until later, but we'll just start cracking anyway. Yeah. Oh, there's somebody on the stage.
Oh, you want to talk about slop, huh?
Yeah, that's the picture on the screen. I mean, I guess that was going to be the advertisement at first. If you weren't going to be here, it was going to have the slop for.
Oh, I'll tell you about slop. But it's gonna be Taco Bell again. When's the last time you went to Taco Bell, huh?
Taco Bell again.
Okay, well here's the deal. I just gotta. When's the last time you went?
Honestly, not that long ago, under a year, but that was the first time in a long time, and that's when I realized, this ain't as bad as it was in the '90s. So
It has gotten. They have gotten so much more fucking obnoxious.
Oh, really?
They have always been like I like their slop, but as far as fast food restaurants, Taco Bell is and has been the most obnoxious upsellers of any fast food.
Really?
Oh, fuck yeah. They've been that way for a long time, but they keep getting worse. It's always every fucking item you order. I'm not even kidding you. You say, I want a crunchy taco. And they're like, you want sour cream on that? No. And then you go to order the next thing and they'll be like, would you like extra beef on that? No. And then you go to order the next thing and you're like, would you like it spicy? No.
Wow. It probably happened that night. I mean, I just went through the drive-thru and I remember I had my dog with me.
Well, how many things did you order?
A bunch. And I didn't eat all of them because I wanted to try like 5 different things.
Yeah, okay. It's if you order a bunch of different things, you'll notice they do it between every goddamn thing. And they're tricky about it now. They've recently gotten even more obnoxious because
it probably happened. I go through drive-thru so little, I probably assumed that's what happened at all drive-thrus.
No, it is not. Taco Bell is I fucking hate them. So, I hadn't been in a long time, and then Morgan was going out to get some food the other day, and she's like, well, I'm going out to food anyway. Do you want me to grab you a taco? And I was like, yeah, just get me 2 crunchy tacos and a burrito. And I warned her, I was like, okay, do not let them upsell you. I just want everything as is. As I order it, just 2 crunchy tacos.
You're trying to do the anti-Morgan Spurlock?
Yeah. And
because his whole thing was on that show is that if they upsold, he had to accept.
I know, which is retarded. Like I understand what you're trying to do is just reveal how predatory they are, but I'm like, what do you expect them to do? Like, they're trying to sell you food. You're like, I would like this amount of food. And you're like, would you like more food? You just say no. Like, this isn't on McDonald's for being like, would you like a more expensive thing? It's not their fault that you said yes.
Like, well, whenever
did you know that if you ate 8,000 calories of McDonald's a day, it's unhealthy? What? Oh my God.
Whenever that movie came out, it did make a bunch of those places back off of that really hard for a long time. I guess it's just fully turned around all this time later. Enough people have known about the bull crap that Morgan Spurlock pushed on it. He didn't tell anybody that he was basically drunk the whole entire month.
Yeah. So anyway, I tell Morgan not to let him upsell her. And the way they're upselling you now is actually really sneaky. So this is maybe why you didn't notice it. Because now if you say, I'd like a crunchy taco, they don't say, would you like to add sour cream? They say, sour cream okay? As if it's like, if you say no, they're going to take something off of there that was already on there. So
maybe I got upsold.
Yeah, I think you got upsold.
I got upsold. Well, I mean, on some things I surely did. But I mean, I don't like sour cream on tacos.
Well, so no, I think
that costs more.
It does. It does. There's the regular crunchy taco, and then there's the taco supreme. The taco supreme already comes with sour cream and tomatoes. By the way, why do you like sour cream on your tacos, you monster? It's awesome.
It's not.
I'm just kidding.
Tacos aren't supposed to be that way, man. They're not.
Yeah, I know. You're a Mexican purist.
I'm a Mexican purist.
I'm a Tex Mexican.
No, I mean I totally understand. I should have Tex Mexican parts of me because my grandparents growing up, they were from like near El Paso in New Mexico. They were totally Tex-Mex.
Well, sure, but
I didn't like the stuff when I was young. I didn't like any of it until I was forced to eat it on my mission. And then the first time I ate it, I liked it. And I was probably like, oh, I bet you if I would have started eating this at 12, I would have liked it fine, but I was being a bitch, you know.
But anyway, because I bet they did upsell you on some things because they almost upsold more.
I'm sure they did.
Well, if I hadn't warned her about it, because I didn't warn her how they phrase it, because she goes there and she's like, can I get 2 crunchy tacos? They're like, sour cream, okay? She knows I like sour cream on that stuff, but I didn't want the upsell. She's like, oh yeah, extra beef, okay. And then she's like, wait, what? And she looks over, and then she sees the upcharge. She's like, okay, no sour cream, you fucking dick. And it's 3. When I go to Taco Bell, I know what I want. It's usually 2 tacos and a burrito, and they gotta pause you in between every. So now, anytime I go there, I actually went there today on my way home from work, and I was like, okay, I want a crunchy taco, and like, extra beef, okay. It was like, no, nothing extra, just a crunchy taco. I know you're supposed to do this, but I want it the way I say. And okay, and then a bean burrito with no onions, and that's it. That's nothing changed on the bean burrito. Oh, okay. Would you like to round up to the nearest dollar to donate to our scholarship? No, I would not. I don't even like. I didn't even try to be nice about that anymore. Like Flips talked about how cathartic it is going to a self-checkout, and it's like, would you like to round up? And he just says, not today. And I get that. But at this point, it's cathartic of me when I go to a place and I buy a thing and they're like, would you like to round up to do this bullshit charity? You don't say no, thank you, or not. I just say no. Just try it sometimes. Say it like that. It's like fucking crack. You're like, oh, it's a high.
Yeah, I definitely say no to that stuff all the time. I don't trust any charities. Even more of that came out this week. Did you see that Gavin Newsom's wife runs all these charities and she takes like one of the highest percentages and most of them get government payments and government funding from too.
I've been thinking about it. I think we need to have at the end of every year we need to nominate a Den Mother of the Year and it was Gavin Newsom's wife that made me think of that because she so far this year would be my nomination. Den Mother of the fucking Year. Because,
oh, man.
Dude, she's the worst of every world. Because not only does she do the woke scoldy shit and not really know a whole lot about it, she's like a more annoying version of Britt Hartley, but she has the woman general conference voice.
Yeah, and it's also like she figured out that she could just make money off that stuff. She just knew like, oh yeah, these nonprofits are a good way to make money. I just go and spout these kind of 5 different things at conferences, and then I take home. They say that she gets paid 75% of what that charity takes her.
That's insane. But did you see her talking about when she ran over her sister with the golf cart?
Yeah, I did.
So that's like tragic. She was 7 years old. It's not her fault, you know. It's a terrible tragedy. But she's telling it to a bunch of inmates.
I've got it, actually.
Okay, this is fucking nuts.
Is the volume on?
Who were juvenile offenders in San Quentin. I told them about my own loss, where I lost my older sister a few days before my 7th birthday, and I blame myself for her death. And I share that
because you ran her over.
They ultimately were accused of committing these violent crimes and sentenced for life. And I think it shocked them that this, blonde lady who was, interviewing them had a similar story, was perhaps in the wrong place at the wrong time, but wasn't punished the way they were because clearly it was an accident, but theirs was probably an accident too.
You fucking idiot.
So anyway, I share that just because I guess
it's so unreal, man.
I quite enjoy spending time with people and being real and unmasking and showing them that it's safe to unmask themselves.
It's safe for you guys to say that you didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
What fucking world do you live in? You gotta be, I don't know. If Gavin Newsom says something like that, he's smart enough that I know that he knows he's lying. I'm not familiar enough with her. She might just be a fucking retard who thinks she legitimately does live in a hellscape where just thousands and thousands of innocent people, like you guys probably accidentally, what are you in for, sir? Gang rape. I bet that was an accident, sir. Just like me as a 7-year-old running over my sister. You accidentally fell cock first to that girl that you would accidentally punch 700 times. You know?
It's so funny because that stuff became like catnip to certain people, and Trump even played into it with the Kardashians. But I mean, for a while there, Devin Tracy on his channel, Atheism is Unstoppable, he was going over every single, what was the name of that project of the release them, get them free, set them free project?
Thing that I can't remember. It's the one that Joe Rogan.
Literally, that guy. I forgot about that guy. Literally,
the Innocence Project. That's what it is.
Innocence Project.
The dude who comes on to Joe Rogan's thing talks about how they let him out because he shouldn't have been there. Yeah, he was in the wrong place. And yeah, he did some bad stuff, but he wasn't the one that killed him. And then like a fucking month after he finally gets released, he beheads a guy.
Yeah.
Like
after going on Joe Rogan's show and listening to the bull crap.
Like I could see, I wouldn't have been surprised if that dude like held up like some liquor store or something and things went sideways and he ended up shooting someone. I'd be like, yeah, that's par for the. He fucking behead. How often do people behead in American crimes? How often? There's a lot of killing, but
it can't be much.
Beheading? Like he had to choose the most heinous thing. You can't write this shit.
But on Devin Tracy's channel, if you go back on it, I still don't know like how available it is on YouTube or not. He released some stuff, does part of it. I think you still have to go get a subscription to Uncensored, which I had for a month thanks to Cara Burrell, even though she was right that Crowder was not a virgin when he got married. But the he did almost every single person that they were covering in the Innocence Project, and every single one of them was guilty as sin. Every single one of them, like not a single one of them was even close.
Guilty of what?
Just
stealing food to feed their families.
Their poor baby Aladdins.
If your family was gonna die unless you committed gang rape and felony robbery, what would you do?
Yeah, that's one of the areas where I mean, since I heard it, and I've heard 2 or 3 things like this with Scott Horton. Scott Horton, I generally kind of like. He really knows a lot of stuff about old things in war, but I realize that he will take a framing and use that framing no matter what, just because it sounds like the libertarian thing. Yeah. But I was talking about, I mean, I mentioned it many times before, but he would always go after Kamala Harris for saying that she was trying to kill an innocent man in prison. And that was part of the Innocence Project stuff. And Kamala Harris was not allowing them to, what they never say is the guy was trying to resubmit evidence that had already been submitted and looked at 5,000 times over. Once again, if you can find it on Devin Tracy's channel, it's the Chino Hills Killer. If you look up the details on the Chino Hills Killer, the guy is guilty as sin, and he's pulled every hat trick in the book to try to get another review, to try to get off. And it's straight up lying, insane bullcrap. And anybody who just even puts 2 seconds into it, but the libertarians would use that as this person tried to get somebody on death row who was innocent killed, and you're like, come on, man. Like, that's, if you're just going to spout that about that little subject that quickly and that easily, what else can I trust you on? Like, is everything just
that's the thing, is what else can I trust you on? Because I recently was talking to one of my coworkers, and somehow prison got brought up, and she said something along the lines of, I think they should be aimed more toward rehabilitation than punishment. And anytime someone says that sounds nice, and if you could effectively do it, then sure. But I always roll my eyes, because of course this is also the same woman who told me that like money isn't real and we could just say there's no more debt tomorrow and there'd be no consequences and everything would be great, that communism only doesn't work because of something dark in human nature, and that the definition of gender is a social construct. Not that gender fits in the category of a social construct, that the definition is a social construct. And she acted like I was an idiot for telling her that's not a definition.
Yeah, speaking of that, we're in the week that they decided to not try the killer of Irina Zarutsky or whatever because he's unfit to stand trial and he's not going away to any prison. He's just going to a mental facility.
Yeah, no, it's
but one of the things that they said in the middle of that is that maybe he'll get better there. Maybe he'll get cured.
Yeah, maybe he would have got better one of the other 14 times he was arrested. It's wild to me to find out that the dude who just stood up on a random subway and stabbed a girl that's just sitting there minding her own business, stabbed her in the neck, and then celebrated it a second later. Turns out he's crazy. And it was like, oh, he's crazy? Well, he can't stand. Of course he's fucking crazy. He just stabbed a random girl in the neck.
Yeah.
You can't fix him.
I don't think there's been many other times. There might have been like one or two when I saw some things that were terrible that I couldn't believe I saw, from Faces of Death type video type things. But the second I saw that video, I sensed in my bones that if I was right there right then, I would have the will to kill that guy.
Oh, I know. Yeah, for sure. My dad, like, we're at work when my dad started talking about it. He like cried. He had to stop talking about it in front of the guys at work.
Yeah, it's so unreal, so outrageous. I saw this other statistic this week that some people pulled out the things that the shootings in Oakland, which is one of the shooty places in the world, the shootings in Oakland are the same 1,000 people, which is like 0.03% of the population. And they've caught them again and again and again. Like, they know who the 1,000 are. And they
right, get out there. You don't go shooting no one now. I promise I won't. I don't know why I did that accent. Why did I say it like that? That's so weird.
Yeah, but because of our situation these days, oh, look at this. I don't want to be sad about this, but look at this video. But I don't know about the song they're playing.
Is that Irina?
That's her.
Fuck.
But they play that "Don't Look Back in Anger" song. You know, like the stuff that got all controversial with that in England, right? They insisted on making that the theme song of the UK after that Ariana Grande bombing.
Oh, fuck you, cocks.
And so one of the things that they're trying to say with it is don't look back in anger, like let it go type stuff. You gotta forgive the killer, like Erica Kirk or something like that. And yeah, that guy's unwell. He's unhealthy. He's mentally, I don't forgive him. Like, I do not forgive him. Death penalty. Okay. Death penalty now.
It's unfortunate. Like, you can have sympathy for somebody who's legitimately insane enough to just randomly stab someone to death. You can say it's not his fault. And you can also say, you're never seeing the light of day again. Like, we're locking you up. Like, if we don't want to do the death penalty, that's fine. But you're locked up forever.
It's so sad what happened to this girl. It's so unreal. And I mean, that song is a tear-jerking sounding song. But then if they're putting it with that concept that came out of England, don't look back in anger, it's like, screw you, dudes. I'm gonna
look back in anger. Yeah, fuck that.
And they had all that stuff this past week that people were putting up murals and all that stuff, and the mayors were saying to take it down because they don't like what it represents and that sort of thing. It's so unreal. So he says punishment is part of the rehabilitation. He says he learned this week that Gavin Newsom wasn't gay. And Ryan says the death penalty has a 100% rehabilitation record. Those that go through the program neither want to commit another crime or do so. I agree with that. Agree.
We have a dude in Idaho scheduled to be put to death by the firing squad. Well, a few, because we're trying to put together our own firing squad machine or whatever. And how difficult does that have to be to just a machine that like shoots a gun at a guy? I mean, Mythbusters has done it 1,000 times. Why don't we just get them? Or I could probably rig something up, you know? Anyway, we got this guy protesting. And he's talking about like how his brother was put to death by firing squad and how we should, like in the 80s or something, how we should never do that to anyone. And I'm like, well, your brother murdered someone. And by the way, if I had to be put to death and I could choose between firing squad or lethal injection, I'm going firing squad.
That's cool that Utah still has it and all that stuff. My little brother was a corrections officer for years, and he got to be near or around that stuff. But a firing squad never came up for him to be able to be. He might have been chosen to be one of the 5 on the thing to do it, but you don't know who has the bullet when it happens. But
yeah.
we're still talking about tacos here. Look at this. Look at this. This is a thing I saw on Twitter today, claiming that this is the size of the double cheeseburger at McDonald's now. Do you think that's real?
That's not
a long time.
Oh, at Burger King?
Is it Burger King?
I thought he said
Burger King.
I don't know. Burger King's ass. I never go there.
I did go to Red Robin recently, and I hadn't been there in 20 years, and those burgers are definitely half the size they used to be. So I guess Joe Biden was right. We're all getting gouged. What's the term they called for reducing the size of something inflation, reduce inflation, or
I can't remember. Shrinkflation.
Shrinkflation. That's what it was. You got it. So back to criminals. Listen to this idiot.
I would rather if I were to get a Burger King double cheeseburger and it was that one versus the old one, I would choose that one because it's less, and Burger King is
if the price is less, it's the same price as the old one. They're pretending like nothing happened. I mean, this has definitely happened with everything. Like every single one of my Diet Coke bottles cost double what they did 10 years ago, and there's a different shape to them. They're smaller. They're different.
Man, I kind of want to go get one now just to see that. That's wild.
I mean, it looks good. If it is a slider and it's being priced as a slider, and you get 2 or 3 of them,
it doesn't look good. It's Burger King.
I like Burger King, all right.
Burger King is the most disgusting fast food restaurant.
You think Burger King's worse than McDonald's? I mean, I agree. It's like up in the slot.
Well, because Burger King's trying to be a burger. McDonald's acknowledges that, like, yeah, we're the candy version of a burger.
It's basically gummy bears.
Yeah, and I would rather, like, even if it was, I don't know, if both of them were in front of me right now and I didn't have to pay for it, I would eat the McDonald's.
I would eat the Burger King just because there's less sugar flavor in the whole thing. I can't take that sugar flavor that much in there. I can if it's like one of those syrup type of burgers where they're purposely putting or I guess that's egg stuff more often, right?
Burger King, I went there on 2 separate occasions where I wanted mozzarella sticks and Arby's wasn't nearby. Arby's is the only fast food with good mozzarella sticks. And I go to Burger King, get the mozzarella stick, and there's like 2 or 3 of them that there's no fucking cheese in it. It's just breading with nothing in it. And that happened to me twice.
Steve said Burger King had purple buns for a week. I thought it was McDonald's that always did that stuff with the shake. Do you remember the Grimace shake meme that was going around?
Oh, vaguely.
Like all these kids would drink Grimace shakes, and then suddenly they'd be in some sort of apocalyptic vortex after drinking the Grimace shake. It's a pretty good meme. I'll see if I can find some of them. First, let's listen to this idiot since we're talking about criminals. This is a buzz on TikTok who fashions himself. He does all his TikToks in the style of Dan McClellan, but he always calls himself every single video like McClellan. You know how McClellan claims expertise in every different thing on the planet? Yep. He does this too. Like he's a professor of comics, I hear sometimes, or he's a professor of this, or he's a professor of that.
The Green Mile. It used to be one of my favorite movies, and it was probably the first time that I really enjoyed
the Green Mile. You see,
the Stephen King story, and it deals with some really interesting themes such as faith, justice, the ethics of the death penalty, and racism. And that last one is really interesting because
he says and admits that he fashioned his channel after Dan McClellan. I should have listened in the beginning because he always says it reminds you that he's a credentialist of credentials.
My favorite movies, and it was probably the first time I really enjoyed penalty and racism. And that last one is really interesting because at the center of the movie,
he used to like the movie, but then he went to college.
Is a glaringly, phenomenally racist trope called the magical Negro. And by the way, if you don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Cruz. I'm a critical cultural scholar and a professor of media studies, and I specialize in the critical race analysis.
Do you know, I mean, you got to hand it to McClellan because he caused a thing, but it's such a thing now that I want to punt TikTok. Like, I ban TikTok, ban Chinese. Like, we're getting increasingly more authoritarian on this channel, and we back Stephen A. Smith for president. So we're basically leftists now at this point, but we want to ban TikTok. We want to ban Shapiro for saying my dudes. What else? There was a few other things that we're going full.
I'm going to make it. It's just illegal to buy lottery tickets and scratch them while you're still in line. That's
Well, I might get into burning AI created books.
Fuck yeah!
Burn AI created books because there is an epidemic of AI created books, and I don't even know that they're AI created. All I know is there's no way these people dropping these books are dropping all these books this fast.
I just published my 3rd book, and the 4th one's almost done. The first one I published 8 months ago.
They're literally doing it. Every single person in the
No.
Mormon sphere, Hayden Carroll, and Jonah, and all those guys. Literally, like every 2 months, a new book. Anyway, back to stupid.
Of pop culture in general and superhero narratives in particular. So if you're not familiar with this term, this is a character who is black.
Who needs that? Like, why is that a thing in society? They talk about that concept like elite overproduction, and that's what brings about revolution, because you get too many people who are think they're overeducated and think they deserve something for it, and they actually realize that they're not worth anything or do anything, and that's the sort of thing that actually foments revolt, because they expect the universe for their stupid degrees. Like, what stupid degrees in those stupid books back there? Like, what a waste of life has this guy done?
The older, not always, but often a man, and they have some kind of supernatural, magical, or otherworldly power or ability that they use to help a white protagonist. A few popular examples of this trope include the blind railroad worker in O Brother, Where Art Thou?, the Oracle in the Matrix series, and God in Bruce Almighty. Now, on a superficial level, this might seem like a rather progressive trope, because we are giving singular powers to...
I love how, like, this is, it could be a continuous theme that every single thing that they have or do for themselves becomes the thing that they start shitting on under their own pretenses.
I know, it's the progressive euphemism treadmill. It's just, as soon as you do something that was once progressive, it's now problematic. And by the way, the God in Bruce Almighty was less a progressive trope and more like a joke, because that was, I'm God, and he's like, oh, you're black, surprise. There was just kind of a funny thing.
No, it's magical Negro.
Yeah, it's the magical Negro. Eat a dick.
The black character. However, the dynamic of the narrative and of the social relations between these two.
There's Radio Free Mormon saying it's taking him forever just to write my own story. I bet you he'd be writing it. But one of the things I've seen Radio Free Mormon say, Jonah Barnes lifted something on Apocrypha text from Radio Free Mormon himself in one of his books. And what I bet happened is Jonah doesn't even know that he lifted that.
Yeah.
It's like something that it got gurgitated out from AI, from what AI draws from. I bet you that's what happened.
Characters reinforces a particular vision of white supremacy that is based on social standing, wherein everything is about whiteness and all other identities exist to serve that whiteness. And the character John Coffey, played by the late Michael Clark Duncan, does just that. He has the magical power to lay hands on someone and absorb the illness from them and then into his own body and to release it as a plague of insects. And he does that for Tom Hanks's character. Now, when Paul Edgecombe, that's Hanks's character, was healed, two things in particular happened. The first...
You know the thing about how, like, you can't have white movement into an area or it's gentrification, and you can't have white moving out of an area or it's white flight.
Yes.
It's the same thing as, like, how can you cast a black person in anything nowadays? Because if you cast them as anything, it's going to be a racist trope. And if you don't cast them in anything, it's racist.
Yeah, how would you cast, at this point, how would you cast a Middle Eastern? Because they can't be the terrorists, because that's a trope. They can't be, I guess they could be the main character, and that's about it.
They got to be the quirky blue pill friend named Kamal Nanjiani.
Well, yeah, if they're, I know, if they're a side character, then John Boyega is going to tell you that Star Wars was never black. They're okay with Star Wars having black guy be the best friend, but that's it. And then you get, there's just no way to do it. Imagine the Jordan Peele level of sweat pouring down woke Hollywood writers' faces anytime they're trying to string this bullshit together.
Is when the illness was taken from his body, he was able to resume having romantic relations with his wife because the illness had been keeping him from doing that. This means that the magical intervention from a black character restored the heterosexual masculinity of the white central character. The second thing is, Paul Edgecombe is an executioner for the state for those who are sentenced to death, and he eventually executes
the Chino Hills murder.
And all of this prompts him to think about his own position as an agent of the state who enacts violence, and so he eventually leaves that position. And this means that because of the magical intervention from John Coffey, the white central character is able to grow as a person as well. And so the ultimate takeaway we have here is that blackness is being conceptualized as being extraordinary and having access to magical powers, but only in as much as it helps a white character self-actualize. Now, there's a lot more to get into here, especially in terms of analyzing how John Coffey is conceptualized as a disabled person. However, I want to end on this note, and that is by saying that the magical Negro is also the forerunner to another very prominent and racist trope, and that is the Negro Muse. And if you want to talk about that, I can make a video.
Fuck.
Boy, oh boy, do I want to talk about it. Oh, 6,000 likes.
Tell us all about the different Negro uncastable roles. Like, oh, you made the main character inspired by a black guy?
Yeah. Oh, and they gave him a disability too. Speaking of which, by the way, look at this hiring. This is a position for diversity, equity, inclusion plan from UBC, hiring for a position that requires people with a disability to apply for it. You must have a disability to apply.
Christ. Able body need not apply.
BIPOC disabled or lady disabled. They kick you to disabled survey.
Why would you have to say BIPOC disabled or lady disabled? You just say disabled, and both of those things are fucking implied. Right there, it says 1, indigenous disabled, 2, BIPOC disabled. Indigenous is in the acronym for BIPOC. RFM says, I'm sure this is just what that fucking conservative Stephen King meant.
Stephen King, that asshole conservative. Wow, I guess that brings us to the new Contra code, too, lady. That the Contra code: up, down, down, A, B, select, start, B, A, B. What's the new term here? Oh man, I had it close by. Here we go.
That, yeah.
WG2S LGBTQI. People online have been mocking the MMIWG2S LGBTQIA+ acronym, making out that it's some kind of joke. MMIWG2S LGBTQIA+ was simply an upgrade from LGBTQIA+.
I guess I'm going to the joke before the actual thing, because it's not a joke. I mean, it's Poe. You can't tell if things are a joke or not anymore on the internet. So
this is they're taking virtue signaling and they're trying to make it into even costlier signaling at this point. Like you gotta put in the work to be able to. I remember Morgan trying to memorize as many digits of pi as she could for a competition in school. That's what this feels like.
Of MMI deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIWG2S LGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent. Deal with the ongoing genocide of.
New super strong password just dropped.
Well, I will never forgive Donald Trump for fucking up the Canadian election.
So did you hear what it meant?
Yeah, so isn't it missing and murdered Indigenous?
Yeah, like it includes missing as whatever.
Don't they already fall under the acronym?
I guess.
In order to be more inclusive to missing people in Indigenous communities, comparing MMIWG2S LGBTQIA+ to a strong password or the next sequel in the Call of Duty franchise is not only grossly offensive, but deeply disrespectful to those communities who are simply asking for us to adjust our language and broaden the LGBTQIA+ acronym in order to include more people. Upgrading acronyms is actually pretty normal. So when you deliberately don't say MMIWG2S LGBTQIA+, when you could say MMIWG2S LGBTQIA+, we know that you're being deliberately exclusionary and simply trying to hurt people.
Yes.
Unfortunately, in the MMIWG2S LGBTQI community, are they themselves refusing to use the MMIWG2S LGBTQI acronym when they could easily do so simply by using a few more letters. So if you are a member of the MMIWG2S LGBTQI+ community, you can show respect to other members of the MMIWG2S LGBTQI+ community by simply using MMIWG2S LGBTQI+.
Oh my God. And that guy was impressive.
We got Flip on site. Where are you at, Flip? Are you out?
Getting on the elevator to go home.
Oh, nice. Oh, I thought you were still out at your rehearsal-y thing.
No, I'm just getting back. In fact, I kind of bailed out. They might be mad at me, but I don't care. I got to sleep. But I just popped on to Blast from the Past because that whole Mama Bitchika the Dagabada. So I didn't realize that? It was talking about the missing murdered Indigenous.
Oh,
now, I know that we're all old enough to remember just a few years ago when the Canadian government commissioned that huge study. They spent millions and millions of dollars, and what it found was that Indigenous Canadians were slightly less likely to be murdered, and their murders were solved at a slightly higher rate than non-Indigenous. And, like, like literally everything that the study showed was that like it's not a thing. Like there's no there as far as their systemic racism. But even after all that, they said this clearly shows that Canada is super racist. So like it's beyond ridiculous, obviously. Because the other thing is that like the indigenous people that are murdered are overwhelmingly murdered by indigenous people.
Yeah, it's like that same stuff they brought up last week about the trans stuff, where they say there's a white genocide or a white supremacy going after the transgender murder, when that is not the case, or what the stats say at all.
So also, it's funny to note how exclusionary this new term is, because it's MMIW. So that's missing and murdered indigenous women. Like, why do we got to do women? Because the indigenous men, aren't they also like a marginalized class? Why is it just women?
It's got to be super ultra marginalized.
Because I was just thinking today about critical tall studies, critical tall theory. Because sometimes at work I have to drag around these little coolers on wheels, kind of like luggage, full of body parts and stuff, and they're designed for average height people, and so I either have to drag it awkwardly, stoop down, or it bangs into my ankles, or I have to take tiny steps. Like, the world is obviously designed to preference average height people, and so I am oppressed, and also like how do they fit in HB for half Brazilian, WL for white Latino, and DWH for dad was a hoarder. They need to fit so much more into the thing.
I think you could put a whole long acronym of all that sorts of stuff.
Well, I was already making this joke a long time ago about how the more stripes they add to the flag, the closer you get to the one group of people they're excluding. Because you got the gays, you got the lesbians,
no white guys. Just say it.
They got the trannies on there now, and then they're like, you know what? It has nothing to do with sexuality, but we should also add black and brown. I'm like, you're getting closer to saying it out loud. Just say it's going to be a lot easier to say the non-white guy thing.
It's called the No Homers Club, but we let in Gavin Newsom. Well, it's Homers plural.
Spell this word correctly. You will be crowned this year's Scripps National Spelling Bee Champion. The word is Meathwig 2 Slug Buck E plus.
Can you give me the country of origin, please?
Yes, of course. The country of origin is none other than Canada.
Can you give me the definition, please?
A single word used to describe every minority group ever conceived, including several that are still pending approval.
Mish Wig 2 Slug Buck E plus. Can you use it in a sentence?
You are not a member of the Maywig 2 Slug QQEA plus community. Therefore, we will not be hiring you for this position.
Mewig 2 Slug QEA plus. MMIWG 2 SLGBT QQI.
We lost 3 rivers.
That is correct. You are this year's National Spelling Bee Champion. Congratulations.
Which brings us back to old famous Jordan Peterson there. What Jordan Peterson said at Harvard years ago.
Well, you might be noticing that the LGBT set of acronyms keeps growing, right? And it's kind of
it was only 6 letters back then.
Form of its own parody in some sense. It's like, well, I'm oppressed. It's like, yeah, you are. And well, I'm oppressed too. Yeah, you're also oppressed. And maybe I'm even oppressing you, being part of this other marginalized group, but at least we share our oppression. Well, I'm also oppressed. Well, so am I. I'm oppressed too. It's like, you might be noticing that the LGBT set of acronyms keeps growing.
You figured it out, that it goes all the way down to the individual. And that's what he said later in that thing. But bringing up Jordan Peterson, I don't know if you saw, but Gavin Newsom's wife is very concerned about Jordan Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I got a bail already, but I just wanted to pop in.
You're bailing for the whole night or to get on
Yeah.
the computer?
No, I got a bail for the whole night. I got to get up, and I've got today.
Unacceptable.
There's shows tomorrow and all the usual stuff. But as usual, the thumbnail is great.
Yeah. We haven't even talked about taco. I guess we'll get to it. But
all right, we'll see y'all next time.
Okie dokie. Hasta later. And that's where Flip went. Let me see here.
Are really into sports. So are my girls, but
let's see.
Are really into sports. So are my girls.
And her sons.
Sometimes will watch their favorite athletes on YouTube,
right?
Or all of a sudden you'll find this sort of alt-right, extreme, Jordan Peterson type.
Right.
It's insane.
Right.
Connected to the sports culture. That's not healthy. Are you kidding? So then our boys are learning hate, bigotry, misogyny, racism. Yeah. So it's very dangerous, and I think we have to take responsibility, and we have to hold those in leadership in tech accountable, because they're making all this money and they're leaving our world in a very, very dangerous place.
This is the clip that made me want to nominate her for Den Mother of the Year.
I guess we need that slide from Jonathan, Den Mother of the Year. Or we use Den Mother? We used Den Mother, right?
Flip said the thing that I thought when I saw this clip. He said, "Who knew Mrs. Newsom listens to Britt Hartley?"
Oh yeah,
Britt Hartley. I had just listened to like 4 fucking hours of Britt Hartley.
Yeah,
when I heard this.
We'll pull up that whole video, because we could spend a lot of time on it. But the what was I gonna say? Oh, alt-right. What do you think they think about if they actually encounter an actual alt-right person, if Jordan Peterson's alt-right?
How many times...
are they just unaware of who the even real alt-right people
are?
They're
completely unaware. How many times have you heard people say, people like Jordan Peterson, Dave Rubin, Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate?
Yeah, it's
do you know how Nick Fuentes feels about Jordan Peterson?
Yeah,
not a fan.
The alt-right hates Jordan Peterson. They think he's a Jew lover.
Yeah, they call him Juden Peterstein, which admittedly is pretty funny. But...
yeah. Oh, you brought up Brit? There was something else I was going to get to with this stuff, but
with Newsom's wife.
Well, I don't know with Newsom's wife. I mean, I might have had enough of.
Oh, we need to ask RFM about his buddy Bill Reel's absolute retarded post that he made about how Mormonism is like Iran. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, I guess we could talk taco.
Was he fucking high?
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of which, Tucker and Candace both went after Mormonism more this week. Tucker Carlson had on, I think RFM even had him on. Tucker Carlson had on the guy who's running the business of religion thing, and he had him on for a couple hours. I think that guy did like a whole episode of Mormon Discussions one night, and they talked a little bit about what is it, the what's the money thing that they do?
Money digging?
No, the name of the place that's digging into the money problems of I forget what it's called. I care so little about it, but I mean Tucker. I mean, I guess I could pull it up here. Hold on.
Christopher said, and ask about his AI abridged epic of the CES letter.
Gotta get on that slopathon.
RFM says he has his hands full just being accountable for the shit he says. I'm not trying to hold you accountable for it. I just wanted to make fun of it in a place where you would hear it.
Arvin, didn't you guys have this guy on?
So some of these churches have become very rich, it sounds like.
Very. Yeah, the Mormon Church, they're sitting at like 350 billion in net assets, billion with a B.
Ensign Peak.
They're the second largest private landowner in the U.S. now. They'll hit $1 trillion in market assets if they keep the market profits in the next 15 years.
Why? What's the point of any church having that much money?
Well, they'll say it's for a famine, and they'll say it's for the second coming. That's literally their argument.
Yes.
And so you go, okay, I'll even give you that. Ready? So, and they use the story of Joseph.
This largest ranch in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're turning it into a city.
Deseret.
Yeah. They want to build I can't remember, 133,000 acre city. Yeah, they're working on that right now.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But so what they.
I mean, it goes on for a few minutes. It's not any of the stuff. Yeah, RFM said that they had him on. Widow's Might. Yeah, Widow's Might and Ensign Peak is what I was talking about. Yeah, but this set off a bunch of the Mormons. It set off quick. It set off the Latter-day Saints. It set off the Ward Radio guys, obviously. And Candace going after BYU, saying BYU has links to Jerusalem. And the guy who runs Timpanogos went to BYU, and BYU has links to Jerusalem.
Yeah,
so that Timpanogos hospital has links to Jerusalem.
Mormons are fans of the Jews, Candace. This is not a secret.
Yeah, but the guy at the hospital where Charlie Kirk died runs it, went to BYU. BYU has direct connection to Netanyahu in Israel. The guy who runs the program at BYU is Israeli. Did you know that? And so
I did know that
we're getting closer to finding out who really killed Charlie Kirk. We're getting closer.
I did know that. Well, I didn't until I found out from Candace that Erica Kirk, her dad's side of the family is Swedish, and she was excited about that. And she told her family that she wanted to get dual citizenship in Sweden. And she refers to this man who is her grandpa as her grandpa in Swedish, but she accidentally uses the paternal or the maternal version of grandpa instead of the maternal.
She's a murderer.
Yeah, so I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that isn't it weird that this woman whose only fluent language is English doesn't know how to say the right word in Swedish?
Yeah.
It's just weird.
So I'm going to do some Cara Burrell connections here, or maybe Exmo Joe, because they're connecting all the dots, like Candace connects the dots. And as soon as Tucker and Candace go after Mormons, well, look who goes after Tucker and Candace. It's Donald J. Trump. Coincidence? I think not. He's protecting the Mormons. I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon because they have one thing in common: low IQs. Do you do a Trump at all?
I try. I can read it if you want.
People. Go for it.
Let's see. I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have been fighting me for years. Especially the fact that they think it's wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, to have nuclear weapon. Because they have one thing in common: low IQs. They're stupid people. They know it. Their families know it. Fuck, that's hurting my voice. I do not do a good Trump.
And everyone else knows it too. Look at their past. Look at their record. They don't have what it takes, and they never did. They'll all been thrown off television, lost their shows, and aren't even invited on TV because nobody cares about them. They're nut jobs, troublemakers, and I will say anything necessary for some free and cheap publicity. My favorite part's where it gets down lower, though. Now they think they get some clicks because they have third-rate podcasts, but nobody's talking about them, and their views are the opposite of MAGA. Or I wouldn't have won the presidential election in a landslide. MAGA agrees with me and just gave CNN a 100% approval rating of Trump, not handing flailing fools like Tucker Carlson, who couldn't even finish college. He was a broken man when he got fired from Fox, and he's never been the same. Perhaps he should see a good psychiatrist. Or Megyn Kelly, who nastily asked me the now famous only Rosie O'Donnell question. Or crazy Candace Owens, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she is not. and will hopefully win lots of money in the ongoing lawsuit. Actually, to me, the First Lady of France is a far more beautiful woman than Candace. In fact, it's not even close.
If I had to bang one of them, I'd bang Brigitte Macron. I'd suck her cock several times before I put it in Candace. Yeah, Troy says that's not Trump, that's Roz from Monsters, Inc. No, this is Roz from Monsters, Inc. Paperwork Wazowski.
Do you think that's him saying that he thinks Brigitte Macron is hot, or just that both super ugly and Brigitte Macron is slightly hotter?
Trump just goes full retard whenever he insults someone because, like, I've never thought of Candace Owens as hot because she's a fucking idiot, nutcase, malicious idiot. Again, sorry, double idiot, but but she's more attractive than Brigitte Macron.
Yeah,
like I don't know.
She gives me the willies. What if we played Fuck, Marry, or Kill? Do you take Candace Owens, Brigitte Macron, and Alex Jones?
I'd marry Alex Jones, fuck Brigitte Macron, and kill Candace Owens. Candace Owens is more fuckable than Brigitte Macron, but if you get a chance, I shouldn't say that online. I don't like Candace Owens. I wouldn't actually hurt her in real life. We're playing a hypothetical fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah, one of my favorite things from Norm Macdonald's ever was in Billy Madison when they play that game of Fuck, Marry, or Kill. I'm going to see if I can see it here, but it's only 38 seconds. So,
hey, Billy, who would you rather bone? Meg Ryan or Jack Nicholson?
Jack now or 1974? Meg Ryan.
Oh, they cut away from it too fast. The best shot of that is that Norm gives him a look like, what? But anyway, I don't know if I need to keep reading that long Trump post. I just wanted to get to Macron stuff. But I think he's going after Tucker and Candace now because they've both started to zoom in on the Mormons. Candace I don't even think she's been on air this week, but she singled out the Mormons that she said she's going to turn all of her attention to Mitt Romney and Mitt Romney's close connections with the Jews and Netanyahu. And she's going to also focus in on this connection of BYU. Someone told her, I don't know if you heard the clip, someone told her that BYU has a large connection with the Jews and she's going to get to the bottom of this and she can't be sued about it because it's just true. That's what she said.
What Christian church wouldn't have somewhat of a connection with the Jews?
Hey, she's on to something here.
The Jews are their prototype, so they've got to feel something about the Jews.
I think she's narrowing in on something.
And unfortunately, they're either usually like huge dicks to the Jews or they're huge cucks to the Jews, and there doesn't seem to be much in between because we have not figured out as a society how to deal with the Jews. And we either cuck to them or we're fucking dicks to them. Those are the only options.
Let me see here. Tucker takes on Mormons. Ward Radio got real upset because Frank Turek went after them too. You know who Frank Turek is?
No.
So Frank Turek is one of the guys who was there when Charlie Kirk was dead. I think he was in the car with him when he got shot. He's one of those like spiritual advisors, like Christian guys. And he goes and does
guy that Flip hates.
Yeah, I can actually. Does he? Oh gosh, that's their whole thing there. Real fast, in case you didn't know, Hayden Carroll has a book out, and he's giving out another book very, very soon.
Oh shit! Actually, Ryan's right. Ryan pointed something out. Isn't it kind of awfully suspicious that the moment Tucker and Candace start looking at the Mormon Church, they come up with a groundbreaking revelation that they're going to change. They're going to change the schedule to have Elders Quorum every week, half hour instead of the alternating weeks. It feels kind of like a distraction.
It does to me too.
It does. This is just to distract. Holy shit. Yeah, so Risa said Candace is bound to get a few right if she keeps going. I don't know. I don't know because I've met people that try to. I know a guy, right? I'm not going to say who it is, but who has tried to make legitimate prophecies before. and he's made prophecies on things that like had like a really high probability of being correct. And I was like, oh, you can't prophesy that. Like, he's saying this is coming from God. Like, the dog's going to die soon. The dog was 13 years old. But the dog lived another year and a half until they put her down. Or that, like, oh, you're going to have a baby girl. And nope, baby boy. Like, that's a 50-50 shot. And this makes me think there's a God. And he sees that guy doing that annoying thing, and he's like, yeah, fuck you. You're going to be wrong about everything. That's what I think there's a God there, and he's looking at Candace. He's like, nah, you're fucking wrong about it. I was going to have the Jews kill Charlie Kirk, but then I was going to have the Mormons kill him. It's going to end up being the Amish or some shit like that.
But I mean, what he's saying about Candace is bound to get a few right. She's getting a lot of things right. Like, it's not wrong that BYU is connected. Like, it's not wrong that the director of Timpanogos went to BYU. It's not wrong that BYU is very, very connected to Jerusalem. It's not wrong that it's run by a guy from an Israeli. It's not, none of that stuff's wrong. What's his name? Quick tried to say it, but the second guy there is a Palestinian. So the second in command at BYU and Quick was saying that he thinks that BYU's Jerusalem arm is more Palestinian friendly than Israeli friendly. Do you believe that? I don't know. I mean, the way universities go, that wouldn't be surprising. But I would think that BYU would try to keep a hand on keeping it pro-Israeli.
You would, if they had like modern savvy people in charge of appointing them. But the people who are in charge of appointing them are people like, the prophet and the quorum of the 12. Those people do not understand interests. People will start just boosting people up who are teaching basically queer theory, but in a way clever enough that an old person doesn't understand.
So this guy, I mean, Frank Turk is one of the ones that Candace went after at the very, very, very beginning because she thought she didn't believe his statement about him dying in the hospital. Like, he was like right there when he died and all that sorts of stuff. And so she was trying to question exactly how he phrased it down to the little T and driving to the place and all that sorts of stuff. So this guy was there holding Charlie when Charlie got shot. This says that Turek was a mentor of Christian apologetics. Turek said in the podcast, I was just trying to see what their connection is. It just says he's a Christian mentor to Charlie Kirk, but he was right there holding him when he died, and I think he gave an interview to Sean Ryan the next day, and Candace caught all the holes in it. But this came out that he zinged on a Mormon about Joseph Smith, and this went really, really viral, and it very much upset the
Was Jesus in a gunfight?
No.
Was Jesus pulling swords on people?
No.
Jesus went to the cross like a lamb to the slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
That's a martyr.
Oh, wait, hang on. Is this his argument as to why Joseph Smith isn't a martyr?
Yeah.
Okay, was Peter a martyr?
Shut up. Yeah, I think his definition of a martyr is wrong. I think they definitely were right on proving that right.
Like, hang on, it's because that's fucking retarded.
Yeah,
I hate that. I've seen a bunch of dumbass ex-Mormons be like, he wasn't a martyr because he had a gun. I was like, yeah, he fought back and was killed. Like, I mean, Peter pulled a sword. Like, Peter, the fucking first prophet, of the Christian church, he pulled a sword on the Roman guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rico says he didn't fight at the end, but like, he fought at points. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the definition of martyr right here, not to get in definitions because we're querying all definitions, right? I mean, you can be a martyr just by identifying as a martyr, but a person who was killed or made to suffer because of their religious or other beliefs. Although I guess some people try to say that Joseph Smith didn't die because of religious beliefs, which I had some disagreement.
Hang on, I'm going to mute myself. Morgan's in Utah right now, so I just got to answer to make sure she's okay.
So I'll go back to this thing right here. This really lit off the Mormons, the Mormon Apologetic Podcast.
I'm Nathan. I'm a Latter-day Saint, and I know you kind of said that you want to, if someone has kind of any, I guess, claim for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you'd want to hear it.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask, kind of going back, you said, right, to the witnesses of of the resurrection.
Yeah.
Right. They're credible. Right. They didn't get things like sex or money or power from them. Right. There was really kind of no benefit from them if they were to make it up. What would be your response to the witnesses that we have for the Book of Mormon? Because it's kind of a similar situation. Right. They didn't gain any power. They didn't gain money from their witnesses of the Book of Mormon.
What did they witness?
They witnessed that you have 19 witnesses that Joseph Smith had the gold plates.
Let me stop. What are gold plates miraculous?
In the way that Joseph received them, yes.
But how do they know that he received them in a miraculous way?
We have 4 witnesses, including Joseph Smith, that say that they did see an angel give them the plates. We also have witnesses concerning translation.
All right. Let's suppose that's true. Are all angels? I'm just asking the question. Are all angels from the good side?
No.
Okay.
But it goes kind of to a similar thing, right? Like how, right, what would they have to gain from, right, a liar? Like what evidence would you?
Well, let me ask you. Tell me what's true about Joseph Smith.
Okay.
Did he have more than one wife?
Yes.
Got sex. Money?
No, he didn't really.
Did he have his own bank?
Benefit? He did.
Okay.
Yeah. And
power?
It ended up failing.
Did he have power?
Not necessarily over the church in general, yes.
Okay.
But really in his life, it didn't amount to, right, the kind of power. The power he gained would be similar to the power that like Paul or Peter gained.
They got martyred. They got martyred. They didn't have power.
Joseph Smith also got martyred.
Martyred. What was the situation surrounding his death?
He was killed right in jail.
Why was he in jail?
He was in jail. There's a couple different allegations. A large one was kind of like the destruction of a printing press.
So he burned down a printing press.
Correct.
Should he have been in jail? If you burned down a printing press, should you go to jail?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So what happened when he was killed? Was it some noble sort of cause he had, or was he guilty of burning down a printing press?
He was guilty of burning down a printing press, which under under like the Nauvoo legislature,
Mormon, right?
the way in which it was legal. Now would
the kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
I've never heard a Mormon admit that he was guilty of burning down the printing press.
Really?
Yeah.
Am I saying that?
Yeah. Well, RFM says he didn't actually burn it down. Yeah, but the suspicion is that he directed for it to be burnt down, right? And I don't know. It's been a long time since I've really looked into this at all. And I had always heard, because a lot of ex-Mormons say that he directed them to burn it down or whatever. But like the Mormons I heard would always said that, well, the evidence is not there to say that he did. I've never heard one of them just say, yeah, he's guilty of burning down a printing press.
I've heard some people just kind of say
it was completely the right move to make. No.
He got into a gunfight.
Yes, he did have a gun to defend himself.
So was Jesus in a gunfight?
No.
Was Jesus pulling swords on people?
No.
Jesus went to the cross like a lamb to the slaughter. Mm-hmm. That's a martyr. Charlie's a martyr. Charlie was wanting to hear what Hunter wanted to ask him.
Okay, hang on, buddy.
He said people can come to the front of the line who don't agree with me.
Let's think here for a second. Charlie got cheap shotted. Let's say Charlie had a gun on him, and that guy shot once and missed. Is Charlie pulling the gun out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had a whole team of security there.
He had people that would have shot back. If he had a gun, he would have shot back. He definitely would have shot back.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's Risto said he got into a gunfight isn't accurate, right? It's like, yeah, I would say, I mean, you could phrase it that he got into a gunfight, but it's more like somebody started shooting at him and he shot back. And like, so if Charlie if he had missed the first time, Charlie pulls out his handgun and starts shooting at the direction and then gets killed. Ah, fuck, he's no longer a martyr.
Yeah.
You're not a martyr if you're in prison for burning down a printing press, and then they smuggle guns into that jail and you try and blast your way out. Well,
that's a misframing too.
Yeah,
I appreciate you bringing this up, and it's difficult. We all have deeply felt beliefs, and they're hard to just say, oh, I'm going to give this up. But when you look at Jesus of Nazareth, he didn't just claim to be God or claim to be the Messiah. He proved it. Not
the question asker.
This guy was he's a plant.
Yeah, he might have been, huh?
He's a fucking plant. No Mormon is going to be like, yeah, he burned down the printing press. And then when he says, when you smuggle in, like when you're in prison for burning down a printing press and they smuggle guns in, you try to blast your way out. He's going to try to interject. I don't know. Maybe he's just a pussy, but he feels.
No, I mean, you're probably right. You're probably right that he was a plant.
Not just by rising from the dead, but if you notice, we have 4 problems in this world. Sin hurts us.
I mean, it does seem like he has a bit of a prepared answer for it to get a
quick.
soundbite for it.
Nah, that was.
Sickness hurts us. Natural laws, natural disasters hurt us, and our ultimate problem is death. Do you notice that when Jesus does miracles?
Yeah, this does seem pre-prepared, doesn't it?
He does miracles in those 4 areas. He's sinless. He can heal the sick. He can calm the storm. And he can raise the dead. Joseph Smith could do none of that. Moses could do none of that. Muhammad could do none of that. Confucius could do none of that. Buddha could do none of that. Jesus is the Messiah. And Jesus said to his disciples, I will lead you into all truth. And that's the truth that they wrote down in what we call the New Testament. And so I think the evidence is very strong that biblical historical Christianity is true. And if it really is true, would you become that kind of Christian?
Yes.
Thank you. If I gave you a book.
Rista says most of Frank's stuff is canned.
This is absolutely
Would you read it?
fucking
Yeah.
fake.
Rista with RFM with some people are dicks and some people are just pussies. Team America, World Police.
Boom. Thank you. Thank
you. Yeah, that did seem a bit weird.
That was fucking fake.
So Ward Radio went for the jugular with it.
You know, he's just like literally he sounds like every single woke scold on Twitter the week after Charlie Kirk was assassinated with that same smug look, victim blaming innocent life that was taken, literally quoted saying as a lamb to the slaughter. So like, I'm sorry, I broke my own rule and I stopped. I'm going to let him finish.
So
Carden's getting pretty heavy on the things because he dropped the stuff of like this is like Mein Kampf and the Jews and it's the same thing as like lynching the blacks in the South and all that sorts of stuff too. I don't know. But then he also said that the progressives were actually right because they're right against these Christian nationalists like Frank Turek and all that sorts of stuff. But they went hard in the paint. This is a guy who was actually there holding Charlie when Charlie was shot in the neck and all that stuff. And they started saying, this is like us telling you this and this and this about Charlie Kirk type stuff. So more of the same.
And, he's just like literally he sounds like every single woke scold on Twitter.
Jesus went to the cross like a lamb to the slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
That's
about Nathan. This is a liar. And I am so grossed out by the way that he then freaking uses Charlie Kirk's death in order to try to say, oh, Joseph Smith wasn't really a martyr. This is nuts. This is horrible.
Yeah,
like,
do Charlie
Kirk
Kirk
next.
Of himself. How easily could a social progressive come out and say, what kind of martyr is wearing a bulletproof vest to a debate? You know who wasn't a martyr? Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King wasn't a martyr. But Charlie Kirk, he deserves what he got because he was wearing a bulletproof vest, smuggled in with security guards. And these are the same idiots that said Frank Turek was part of his assassination because he was doing secret hand signals and other crap like that.
And just
it was a fiery podcast by Ward. They were not happy with this one. I think Frank Turek did kind of frame it in a way that
Well, if that guy wasn't a plant, then he's terrible at this. Like there was no pushback in places where obvious pushback could have been applied to any Mormon who had been to even like a month of seminary.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't think they're against bulletproof vests. I think he's saying that like he didn't go like a lamb to the slaughter because he had a bulletproof vest on. A lamb.
Carden always has like the framing that he says as soon as they say something mean to them, he's allowed to say whatever mean thing back. Is his framing, as if he never jumps out at it first, obviously, but I think he does. I don't know. I haven't checked every single one of the things, but yeah, he's allowed to start saying every horrible thing, or like, what if I said this thing to you, and just start saying all the things about all the other religions at the same time, and it's all just Bible bashing. And I think he should just outwardly Bible bash, like if you disagree with the guys and that sort of stuff. But everybody does like a maneuver to say, I'm above this, what I'm about to do, but I'm going to do it. But I don't know, that whole thing was a bit goofy. It was a bit of a goofy, wild, massive amounts of drama this week. Drama time. Tucker Carlson and that guy said
I would actually argue, and this is a bold statement, the Democratic Republic is the greatest government experiment in the history of humanity. I would say
I've enjoyed it.
You've enjoyed it. Yeah. So we enjoy it. I love America. You love America.
I do.
Capitalism should not be anywhere near Christianity.
Brave take there, Cotton.
Christianity is more, and I don't like the word socialist with the weight it carries, but Christianity is socialism at its core.
Non-authoritarian.
It's the marker to build social capital. You look at that early Church of Acts, and it transformed Rome within a couple hundred years, the greatest superpower of its time, to where Constantine was like, I'm a Christian hanging out with these dudes. They had no money, they had no buildings, but somehow the love of their neighbor transformed the greatest superpower of its time. That's dangerous. I would actually argue, and this is a bold statement.
It started over. Yeah, so new liberation of theology from the right just dropped. We're getting what were those MAGA? Weren't there a bunch of MAGA communists or something like that for a while? Jackson Hinkle.
Tell me which. Okay, you say capitalism doesn't belong anywhere near Christianity. Tell me which economic system is Christianity more accepted and sustainable? Capitalism, communism, socialism, feudalism? Which one? Because with theocracy, it's sustainable so long as the theocracy is Christian, but then it's only one branch of Christianity. If it's Islam, you can fuck off. If it's communism, fuck no. They don't care, because part of it is because people try to compare capitalism and communism. The real kicker as to why they can't really be compared is that capitalism is an economic system. Communism is an economic system, an ideology, a moral framework, and it's all of these things. It's more an ideology than an economic system. Capitalism is amoral. It's not immoral. It doesn't propose morals. It just says, give me thing and I give you thing if we agree on thing.
Yeah, it's kind of more like consumerism. It has nowhere.
Yeah, no, I get that. You could totally say, Christians should avoid love of money. But no, if you're a Christian, you should be like, yeah, let's do capitalism, because it doesn't say what we can believe. It just says, if you want a house, you got to exchange it for something else. And you're going to want a house, so you got to get the stuff to exchange it for. Or if you want to be like a nomad like Jesus, you could do that too under capitalism.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, speaking of communism and all that sort of stuff, Hassan Piker went and did a very, very thorough documentary about how great Cuba is.
Oh, yeah.
The communist country 90 miles from Florida, a mini doc from Hassan B.
This thing seems like something I would do as a joke, and it seems like something Hassan Piker would get in trouble for doing.
Yeah. So part of in the middle of it, he takes a dark-skinned Cuban man, and maybe it's AI or something like that, but the voiceover of it is Samuel L. Jackson.
Despite all the significant economic challenges that we currently face.
Trump is a big son of a bitch, man. I just don't get it. Some say he's good.
You got to watch the whole documentary to get how freaking funny this is, because he's trying to do a serious documentary here. At the end of it, he starts talking and using his voice. It goes into echo voice of we need to go into the future of better capitalism type stuff. He's trying to be so serious.
He's so dumb.
But for me, he's not. Trump has no decency. He doesn't. But he can be president of the United States. He says he owns the world. Since he owns the world, he thinks he owns Cuba.
I feel outraged with him because he's the one governing his country and wants to govern the world. And international law allows all countries in the world to have their freedom. And he wants to violate and has violated the freedom of all Cubans and other countries. War is always bad. War is always terrifying. I am not afraid, but I wouldn't want it to come.
You wake up and don't know what will happen because they tell you no life.
I hear the voice before. I speak Spanish. I don't understand what he's saying yet.
No, there's no
mierda.
I'm gonna see if I can understand what he's saying at first.
War is always terrifying. I am not afraid, but I wouldn't want it to come.
You wake up and don't know what will happen because they tell you no light, no this, no bread, no that. You are at war 24 hours. You are on edge 24 hours. From when you wake up till you sleep, you are at war. You don't feel the guns or the bullets flying, but you are at war.
One person I spoke to was Carlos.
I love it.
Carlos, listen to him try to do the accent.
Fernandez de Cosio, Cuba's vice minister of foreign affairs. I asked him about the pressures Cuba now faces and whether this.
They had some clips of him, and he was like giving kids bread to do TikToks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like Hassan.
Oh fuck!
Like having them dance for you, Hassan.
Oh, that's so fucked. I never know what to do with the whole accent thing because, like, there's certain things that if you say them in like the accent, like even if you're good at accents,
Now,
if you say them in the accent, you sound like a pretentious fuck. But there's other things that if you say them without the accent, like if you said tortilla, you'd sound like a fucking idiot. If you say tortilla, you sound pretentious. But if you say tortilla, you're fine. It sounds gringo, right? But like if I go to a Brazilian restaurant, I feel like a douche if I'm like, yeah, can I get some churrasco and some guaraná? But like I'd sound so retarded. I was like, yeah, can I have a drink of guaraná? You know, so.
Yeah.
I guess I make fun of him for this, but I also don't know what to do. I do know what to do. And his name is Carlos, and you're a white guy like me. You don't say Carlos. You sound faggy when you say it. Just Carlos.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate being stuck in the situation of kind of being able to speak it and that sort of stuff, and I'm jumping back and forth to those types of things. Do you want to know what one of the funniest things on my mission was for me was when the Mexicans used the American word, but they butchered the American word, and they could never guess what the American word was, but they all used it universally, and you couldn't guess at it. So you'd like walk up to something like, there's a Snickers there. Like, I need to order that Snickers. How do I order a Snickers? And you'd be like, a Snickers, a Snickers. And they're like, what? What? Huh? A Snickers? And they go, oh, a Snickers. You're like, what?
I was
like,
gonna.
what?
I forgot. I had a clip I wanted to show Flip because I keep getting these reels of skateboarders, and Brazilians are big into skateboarding, right? Because like Bob Burnquist is one of the most famous. He's like one of the best vert skateboarders ever, and he's Brazilian, and it's hilarious. Like trying to think of the Americanized version. I follow this guy who's like a Brazilian skateboarder, and he reviews tricks that other guys do. And like, if you asked me the grind that you do, when you ollie up onto the rail and you twist your board 90 degrees and you grind on the actual deck itself, right? It's just called a board slide. That's the type of grind. And if you had asked me, how do you think Brazilians say that? I would have been able to tell you easily. They just say board slide, but they Brazilianize it. It's like, ele fazendo board slide. Board slide.
Have you seen this guy? I guess this guy's Brazilian, Sandro Dias. I guess he set the record for.
Oh, I saw this. Yeah, I didn't know he was Brazilian.
Yeah, they said he was. Anyway.
These Red Bull videos are nuts.
No, it's too long before he starts going. Is that just the pre thing, or did he go? Oh, that actually shows it. Yeah, it looks different from the other one, but he landed it. And yeah, I saw he was a Brazilian dude too.
64 miles an hour on a
Sandro Dias.
You could do that on a longboard, but 64 on a skateboard. He's got pretty big wheels and pretty big trucks and axles. So I can understand like that would help a little bit. You usually don't have axles that wide and wheels that large when you're actually doing like a normal skateboard. But still, the speed wobble on that must have been fucking nuts. I went 50 on my longboard because I grabbed onto the back of a car and I wanted to get to 50.
Oh man.
And I almost ate shit.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, I didn't skateboard much as a kid, but the day I stopped was one day I took a big hill and I was like, that was the freakiest thing I ever did. I definitely crashed, but not bad. But I was like, I was lucky that was not bad. I'm not getting back on that thing ever again.
It's just all you got to do when. So I used to skateboard a little bit, and I would longboard quite a bit. And you just got to plan when you look at a big hill, you can bomb it if you can see a bail route. And if there's grass, all you got to do is ride it out into the grass, and you're good.
Since we're all the way back on Latinos and tacos and all that stuff, who's got the best taco? We're going full circle back to the slop at the start. Who's top of the slop? We never even said who's top of the taco slop.
Taco slop? It's Taco Bell.
Taco Bell's the top of the slop.
For the slop,
what is about like a good taco then?
A good taco?
Top of the slop.
It's taco trucks, always do. Or the stands at the farmers
but which
markets.
one? Do you have a name of one?
I never remember their names. You just go to a food truck. Oh man, they always have the best. Morenitas is a good one around here. That's not a truck; it's an actual restaurant. They got fucking great tacos.
There's this taco stand in Las Vegas. I think it's just called Los Tacos. It's on the east side, and it is top notch. Although the place that Joe Biden, you remember, like right before the election, Joe Biden went to Las Vegas, and people thought he died there or something. He suddenly got sick. He was in one of my favorite Mexican restaurants called Bonito Michoacan. And that place is so good, and they have good food. And also, if you go in and say the word Parangari Kutirimicuaro, they'll give you a free drink. So just, memorize that sentence. But they have pretty good tacos there too. Let me see here. Let's stop going into space. There's nothing to see and no one to talk to. This is Williams.
Oh yeah.
What was this, BuzzFeed or something like that?
What's the paradox she talks about? She mentions in this article like a paradox of is some dude's name, and it was that if there were other people, like if there were other beings in space, they would have contacted us by now. And you're like, what? You're actually calling that a paradox?
Oh, the Fermi paradox.
The Fermi paradox.
Yeah.
You know how fucking big space is?
Yeah.
Like I guess maybe there's more that goes into it. Maybe it's like due to the age of the universe and how the world that we know is created, all of the worlds that could house humans and evolve different types of species would have been around already and maybe longer than us, but they wouldn't be able to be around at a shorter period than us. I don't know. Maybe there's something to it, but on its face, that sounds retarded.
It just says the contradiction between the high probability of extraterrestrial life and the complete lack of evidence for it. Yeah.
Oh.
When I was younger, I don't do it very often. I think Matt Walsh even went into this, but I used to sit there and try to imagine just the size of our outer Oort cloud.
Yeah.
And if I really, really sat and started trying to think about it, my brain would melt. Because
we were talking about it the other day, and somebody was telling me, well, we've actually explored more of space than we have of the ocean. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's not true.
That's not even nearly true. Are you saying that we have traveled more distance in space than in our ocean? That's true because there's not enough distance on our planet to. That's retarded.
Charles, I hope you're still doing good. Charles recommended the dark forest theory to answer the Fermi paradox. A chilling solution to the Fermi paradox, proposing that the universe is teeming with life, but civilizations remain silent and hidden out of fear, that they don't want to contact us or stay away from it or that sort of stuff. I mean, I remember Hawkins, would say for years that if we did come into contact with alien life, it's 99% most likely hostile. So you probably don't want it to happen. But isn't there that other paradox too of like a civilization that's sufficiently large they're gonna nuke themselves? And
yeah, there is. There's a lot of paradoxes that are themselves a meta paradox. But
and so if they got to the point that they were mega universe travelers, they probably wouldn't be Klingons. They probably would be more.
Well, what you got to think about is that actually, if a different life form got into contact with us, they wouldn't be hostile. They would be post scarcity, and they would have figured everything out. And they would look at us in horror at the fact that we still fight and squabble. They'd be like, they have hungry? Why do they have hungry people? What's going on? They still have racism? This is disgusting. That's what it would be.
Risto has the quote essentially, which this taco theology, which I guess we are initially going off of Trump always chickens out stuff, which we haven't even talked about yet. Who even knows if he cares about it? Because I don't even know what's going on with that. We're still in the fag of war. But then we started talking about tacos, and Risto has the theological proof, an axiom. He's got the syllogism. Tacos prove that there's a God. I don't know if you have a perfected syllogism for that yet, Risto, but that is one that I tend to believe. That's one that makes sense. But I also don't know, because if they make me fat, I have to get fat to eat the tacos. I don't know if there's God. But
yeah, but your version of fat is that you can only see 4 of your abs.
Yeah, right, dude. I bulk the hell up all the time. You know that. I bulk up 60 pounds and drop 60 pounds every 3 months. Let's see here. I need to stop doing that. I can't quit you. Bulk and cut cycle. Can't talk about space without talking about culture war stuff. I mean, those guys are going out in space and doing cool stuff. I guess they're sending back religious messages back to the people. I haven't really looked hard into it. Have you seen some of that? I guess like the guys who are out there are kind of constantly sending back Bible verses and all that stuff.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then one of the guys was like not having, like, if you listen to him, like they try to ask him about being the first black guy in.
It is a big question, and I want to highlight, I guess maybe one facet of this is the tension, I call it. I live in this, this dichotomy between happiness that a young woman can look at Christina and just physicalize her passion or her interest, or even if it's not something she wants to do, she can just be like girl power, and that's awesome. And that young brown boys and girls can look at me and go, hey, he looks like me and he's doing what? And that's great. I love that. But I also hope we are pushing the other direction, that one day we don't have to talk about these first, that one day this is just, and I listen to this, that this is the human history. It's about human history. It's the story of humanity.
Oh, no.
Black history, not women's history, but that it becomes human history.
Oh, no, but no.
Cancel him.
He's doing the colorblind thing. You can't do that, buddy. What a badass.
Is racist.
He wanted to be so much more mean. I know that. He should have been. I wish he was just like, would you just fuck off? I'm going to the moon. I'm excited about going to the moon. And also, I'm black. All right?
I don't think you can get on this mission and just be some diversity hire. Like, I do think they have to cut people for that one.
I really fucking doubt that.
He's like, do not put me in a diversity hire. Bullshit. Fuck you and your
like, look, somebody, like the head astronaut had to like pull the recruiter aside and be like, okay, look. This is not a racing. I don't care. We cannot have a single Ketanji Brown Jackson in this mission. I will die.
Risa says the experience of tacos is very good. That is true. Mr. Croissant Boucher says, no, we're about to never hear about this guy ever again. He's coming from Archer. Which brings up this is a good thing to remember. Remember when this guy did something awesome, and
so hard to quantify that, right? So when people come to me and say, what have been the negative effects of the great feminization? That I think is at the very top of my list. That's one of the most important ones, that if you've got HR ladies planted in every single institution and who see it as their mission to get rid of exactly that maverick type of personality, there's so much innovation that we're missing out on. We don't know what would have been. One of the cancellations that affected me very emotionally, very deeply, was, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was the astronomer or astrophysicist who had just like landed a satellite on a comet or something really impressive like that. But he was wearing the scantily clad ladies on it. It was like a bowling t-shirt.
I remember this.
Yeah. And somebody said, oh no, he's got scantily clad women on his t-shirt. And they put him through a struggle session for disrespecting women. And I was thinking, this guy just landed a satellite on a comet. Focus on that. He's so impressive. And you're putting him through this horrible public shaming. But that's the way wokeness works. It doesn't even register to these people that this guy has done something deeply scientifically impressive, that he might be a singular human being. For all you know, he might be the only person on the planet who could have done that. And all you care about is the shirt he's wearing. It's so hard.
And the same autism that caused vaccines. Oh, it was Flip's joke. Vaccine causes autism. Autism causes vaccines. Autism caused that shirt too. Autism causes moon landings. Autism causes that buying. That
I remember that. You forget so much. I remember being just bewildered that guy was getting railroaded. And just be like, he just landed a rocket on a moving comet. That's amazing. That his shirt could say the N-word, and I wouldn't really be thinking about it much. I'd be like, interesting choice, buddy. Or it could say kill Whitey, and I'd be like, well, no, but holy fuck, he deserves to have a big booty anime picture on his shirt if he's landed a fucking rocket on a comet.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I told you about this, but I clicked on this hat from Futurama because I wanted some Futurama hat. But don't click on hats on Facebook because all of your algorithms will turn to different companies trying to sell you hats. And that
same thing happens if you watch a Brit Hartley video.
Oh, should we go on to that? I mean, I've got Mom Donnie stuff. I've got the new Finnish study that came out about trans stuff. Or we could just talk about Brits patriarchy.
I don't know the Finnish study. I want to hear about that.
You don't know about the Finnish study?
I don't think so.
Story. A comprehensive study out of Finland, 23 years, ranging from 1996 to 2019, following. There's never been a study done like this. And surprise, surprise, they find that the youth who went through the mutilation surgery were more likely to commit suicide. Of course they are. They found that boys who were 10% suicidal after they cut off their balls, they were 60% suicidal. Girls who had their vagina removed and had an appendage called attached to them that's not working, they were 21% suicidal, and then it became 55% suicidal afterwards.
Jesus.
Of course, it becomes as a surprise to no one because there's no such thing as a transgender child. This is purely a social contagion. If you mutilate a young person, of course, when they get a little bit older, when their brain develops, they're going to go, what did I do to myself, and how did the adults in my life allow this to happen? So parents, reject.
Comprehensive 25-year study from Finland, and the rates jumped that high.
I'm gonna channel Scott Adams from the grave and say I could have saved him some money.
You could have saved him 25 years, and other places that are still going to go through with putting other kids through this and doing it. It's just flies in the face of what everybody said of, the blackmailing of you better do this or your kid will become suicidal. It was literally the opposite. Oxford study. I thought it was like in Finland study. I mean, we'll look at it here.
It said Finnish in the tweet.
Yeah, I think it was from Finland, but I've got the I had it somewhere. We'll look at this. Colin Wright says, as an atheist who used to believe something like this, the rise of gender ideology forced me to take the L. I'm still an atheist, though. Unfortunately, I think that saying when men stop believing in God, they don't believe in nothing, they believe in anything, has some merit. Reject Reddit atheism. People will become more rational without religion. Boom, women with penises. And that has been the struggle we've been screaming about for a decade on right here. Transgender guys. I jumped at Lindsey Graham with a toy at Disney. I didn't mean to jump that.
Come on, Lindsay. Even the conservatives are cool with the gays now. It's time, buddy.
Yeah. There's a bunch of people talking. It says, there's a new Finnish study report that youth. Yeah, it says a Finnish study results. I can't read it very well. It got blurry when I copied it. Severe psychiatric morbidity is common among gender-referred youth, and their problems do not subside after medicalization. Biggest medical scandal ever. It's a Finnish. I don't see like the whole thing. Let me see if I can find the link. I thought I had the link to the actual full thing here.
You want me to just read it?
Yeah, if you can read it, except that even that results thing doesn't say exactly what it's coming from. Segum. I think I can find the original thing, but go ahead and read it in the meantime.
Gender-referred adolescents showed significantly higher psychiatric morbidity than controls, both before 45.7% versus 15%. That's insane. I will say I could have saved him some money by saying this is obvious, but I didn't know how. That's a massive difference. And after 2 years. In 2+ years after the referral, 61% versus 14%. Those referred after 2010 had greater psychiatric needs than earlier earlier cohorts, both before 47 versus 15, and after 2 years, 61 versus 14 referral. Among adolescents who underwent medical gender reassignment, psychiatric morbidity increased markedly during follow-up, rising from 9.8% to 60.7% in feminizing gender reassignment, and from 21 to 54% in masculinizing gender reassignment. Jesus Christ, that's massive.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't find what the original one is. I mean, it was going all over the Twitter this week. I saw this, like, Colin Wright pulled the he was looking at some other papers and that sort of stuff, and some of the papers, there's more things on it right there. Segum, new Finnish study, that's still just referring to the same one. Helen Joyce talking about it. Turns out that giving children powerful drugs that harm mental and physical health and bring about visible, irreversible changes in operating on their healthy bodies to destroy natural function makes them much more unhappy and mentally unwell. How very surprising. Yeah, I don't see what the ultimate thing was. Colin Wright pulled some other papers because he's constantly doing this and looking it up. And he sees stuff like this, like he finds other papers where they have like positionality statements. One of the things he says is like, when these people write these positionality statements and it sounds like that thing from Canada, it should be disqualifying as a conflict of interest. You're not somebody who's reporting on something as a disinterested academic.
We spent $600,000 and to study if Mormonism is or is not true, and if Joseph Smith actually saw Moroni. Now, we will say a positionality statement just to let you know, we are all Mormons. We all have stock in the Mormon church. We all benefit from the Mormon church. We intend on climbing the Mormon church social ladder and hopefully one day making it at least to 70, hopefully to apostle. But anyway, we acknowledge that bias, but our study found that indeed Joseph Smith did see Moroni.
Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of wild. So look at this. So there was a hearing in California, and it's really interesting to hear this hearing in California because a ton of people got up who say they're lifelong Democratic voters. They were reviewing the same thing in California of that California bill that just got, like, Scott Wiener's trying to pass the same type of thing about conversion therapy in California.
Your body and your life gets better, don't, and it gets worse. Or as my doctors told my mom,
and this is Scott, like, people are like watching Scott Wiener as he has to listen to detransitioners, and he's just panicking about the whole entire thing.
Suicide. The medical and mental health providers didn't bother to ask why I felt the way I did. They poisoned my body with blockers and hormones, arresting my puberty and messing with my development. The result, I'm a 23-year-old gay man who's never had an orgasm and may never experience one. Let that sink in. I was rendered anorgasmic because once you say you could be trans, that's it. Full stop. No exploration as to why is allowed, even if you are a struggling kid. The former president of WPATH, Dr. Marcy Bowers, a California surgeon who had performed the surgery for Jazz Jennings at 17, admitted on video that puberty blockers followed by cross-sex hormones results in no orgasms and stunted genitals. SB 934 guarantees that more people will end up like me, the walking but wounded.
Yeah, so they're hearing it, and in that same hearing, like, a bunch of Democrats, lifelong Democrat feminist women, got up to say that they stand against them banning this sort of idea and this sort of thing. But of course, they're TERFs, right?
It's hilarious because all these people will shit on anti-vaxxers, and I'm like, okay, let's do gun to your head. You got to be raised by anti-vaxxer parents or trans-affirming parents who walk in on you wearing your mom's high heels when you're like 3. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the one that, they don't trust the vaccines, and maybe I'll, get measles at some point, but I can still come when I'm an adult.
The same hearing in California.
GnRH analogs, what we call puberty blockers in the lay community, was introduced into the world of medicine by a team of providers in the Netherlands. It was so clear that experiencing the irreversible aspects of puberty was one of the most distressing experiences for transgender individuals to undergo, particularly transgender women who cannot go back and ungrow their Adam's apple, their vocal cord.
So puberty is stressful. So reality is stressful for them.
Reality is the real oppressor.
This is Greg Lukanoff, who wrote that book of with Jonathan Haidt about the coddled American youth and all that sorts of stuff, the coddling of the American mind. Also the thing that the righteous mind, co-writer with Jonathan Haidt, talking about, in my career defending academic freedom of speech, I never saw anything become as immediately radioactive as view that ran counter to the narrative of trans issues. Papers were retracted, compelled speech was treated as normal, and people were canceled for saying things that would have sounded like common sense just a few years earlier. It seemed to become kind of a secular blasphemy overnight, and usually that is a sign that the true believers at some level that they are on shaky ground. Well, we've all watched it happen to Jonathan Streeter in the ex-Mormon community, right? He's now persona non grata over there because you don't toe the line of the audience capture of the people who freak out for this stuff.
It's wild how trans affirmation is always related to Mormonism, but trans skepticism is never related to Mormonism. It's wild, Delin.
Colin Wright noted here that you just start flooding the field. They get all their endless teams of academics who are activists, not academics, not disinterested learners, activists flooding the field with their papers of pseudoscience, is what he's talking about right there. But the biggest thing to worry about, though, is these people here at this. I don't listen to the whole thing, but Deerfield, Illinois, girls were forced young girls to change in their gym clothes in front of trans-identified male student athletes. Teachers reportedly monitor the girls, so no one left the locker room in protest. And great stuff, you guys. Mine's is all of old Ricky Gervais here.
You see, Charles. He said, scrolling through Reddit discussions about the Finnish study, and I'm getting a lot of don't trust the experts vibes. Oh, the turntables.
Yeah, well, one of the things that they end up saying with that stuff is that there's not enough people in the sampling. And I saw another thing that was really funny, that the people said, wait a minute, some of the people in the group never even got any sort of trans therapy or something like that. And it says it is hilarious to watch trans activists find out what a control group is. Never come across that one before.
What about this person that isn't a lady? Well, his penis. Her penis, you fucking bigot. What if he rapes me? What if she rapes you? You fucking turf whore.
My favorite quote from that whole thing was, "Of course she's a lady. Look at her pronouns."
And then, of course, you remember this one here. What was this guy's name? Logic. I forget what this dude's name was. The Logic dude.
E.F. Jung?
He had a big long
rationality rules.
Rationality rules, and he had a big long debate with Peter Boghossian and Colin Wright, who I just brought up a couple of times. You can go listen to their long thing, and if you want to listen to somebody get Foucauldian and Derridian on words and all that sorts of stuff. And this guy who's rationality rules, if you don't remember, this was a guy who totally just came out and said, because he's a rationalist from the start, he came out and said, hey, yeah, it doesn't make sense to have people competing in sports when they're males versus females and that sort of stuff. And then, of course, king of the atheist onliners, although he seems to be falling a whole lot, Matt Dillahunty, came out and canceled this guy. He tried to go down to Austin, and he wouldn't let him on the campus because he said something transphobic online. And because he got canceled by his in-group of atheists, he lobotomized himself and totally flipped around and got on board with all of that postmodern thinking on how to jack with language extensively. But I mean, I remember just a little while ago, Troy and Colby Reddish were talking about how the law is created, and they talk about how some of that is just going off of what human intuitions are. Human intuitions are how things get set. And common sense, there's so much things that are considered common sense in the law. But what is common sense? Well, I mean, Gramsci will even call like common sense something that needs to be abolished. You got to get rid of what's common to break into a new future. We can't be one-dimensional men anymore as a
no, it's if you get rid of common sense in an area, it sets your entire society back because we get stuck arguing on the dumbest shit, like the shit we already know. We would have colonized Mars by now if 10 years ago we didn't have to try to discuss for an entire decade like what really is a woman.
Anyway, it should be pleasing for Colby to know who loves all the fallacies that appealing to intuition.
Your thoughts clearly.
Forrest, my dude.
My dude. All right, hold on. Gas starts to seep in, so let's watch.
The other things he said in that just maybe raise an eyebrow is that he started talking about having a penis. And I'm like, but he's mentioned before that sex is going to come down to the way that he sees it, gamete type and chromosomes. Why is he saying a penis? That seems to only achieve appealing to people's intuitions, because it's not like if you've got
appealing to intuitions is a fallacy.
Oh my God, this is your brain on pure logic and hold on, let me cook. Nerd shit, just pure autism mainlined. Okay, saying that a male is someone who has a penis, you're just appealing to people's intuitions. What? You're just appealing to people's intuitions as some rhetorical trick when you say men have penises and women don't. No.
Yeah. Queer theory and queer epistemology.
Well, he says it like it's
10 times more bogus than anything in any religious world. And go ahead.
He says it like it's a fallacy. You're just appealing to intuition. And I'm like, yeah. There's actually a set of presuppositions to any discussion, pretty much any discussion you'll ever have. It's just most of them are pretty, like, far be it from me to talk about consensus, but I would say the human consensus if I were to say that, like, it's daytime, we all know that means that the sun is in a position to where it is illuminating our side of the globe, and we don't really have to discuss on what daytime means. And if you get bogged down in the definition of every stupid ass thing, holy fuck.
Radio Free Mormon asked, have we officially entered the era when 4 is not the correct answer to what is 2 + 2?
We've been there for a while, buddy.
Speak of the devil, RFM. I hate to break it to you. It would be a Harvard professor. I would recommend listening to the YouTube video from James Lindsay about does 2 + 2 = 4, about a Harvard professor who tried to argue that it did not. And that was all under the basis of these types of epistemologies. And yes, it is 100% these groups that push that stuff as Western ways of thinking or formulating sciences and that sort of stuff. I think it was Carson. It wasn't Ben Carson. It was something Carson. New discourses to
fucking Harvard.
Oh, come on, my screen is not.
Are you frozen? I might be frozen. Who knows? I'm going to keep talking as if I'm not frozen. I'd like to point out that that says wiener right there. And wiener is a pretty funny word. Yeah, Chris is frozen. All right, that means I'm in charge. Let me turn off my lo-fi Mega Man 3 beats. Mega Man 3, by the way, best of the Mega Man games. Man, he's totally gone. I'm sure he'll be back soon. Let me pull something up. Let me find something. I'm going to read Bill Reel's absurd post. Let's see. Bill motherfucking Reel. It's where we find out that Mormonism is just like Iran right now. Here it is. All right. I can't pull it up on the screen because I am not in charge of StreamYard right now. But it's got this great picture of a chick in a great picture of a chick in Iran. And she's juxtaposed against a chick in Utah. And it's just terrible. And I'm going to do it in a Bleary voice. So, I'm a fucking Bleary. And my thoughts on Iran. Joseph Smith was a pedophile.
Actually, if you want to get super technical, he was an ephebophile, which means he was sexually attracted to women that were underage, but women that were actually above the age of puberty.
And the system he built still creates space for harm, such as allowing grown men to sit alone with children behind closed doors, asking sexual questions under the banner of worthiness interviews. That kind of thinking don't just disappear over time. I'm motherfucking Blair Real. After this many years, it's not about the founder no more. It's baked into the system. Now I'm going to read it in the normal voice so you can understand what I'm actually saying. This is a systemic problem, not a leadership problem. You could remove 50 leaders, and if the system stays the same, you'll get the same outcomes because it's rooted in religious belief, which is emotional, not in reason or evidence. The ideology teaches that they are chosen, that God is guiding history, and that they play a role in bringing about the end of the world. Okay, yeah, they believe that they're chosen, but like in Islamic theocracies, that means kill everybody else. In Mormonism, it means get the fuck out of America, go make your own state and just enjoy yourself. Yeah, they do some shitty things in the beginning, but you know, death to America isn't just rhetoric. It's dogmatic mission statement. In their theology, we are the enemy, the great devil. Opposition to us isn't optional. It's part of the mission. That's what religious dogma does. It turns belief into justification. And now you hear reports of children being placed at power plants and bridges. That means when conflict comes, anyone striking those targets will inevitably kill children. Okay, but what would the Mormons do? Like if we were going to bomb Mormon temples, do you think the prophet would come out and as a last resort say, let's just use children meat shields? How about that? Hang on, Chris is typing. I'm going to tell him we're still going. Okay. Okay, let's see. I sound like the quartering right now.
You there?
Just kidding. Oh, there you are. I was reading Bill Reel's thing.
Did yours conk right when mine conked?
No, mine was totally fine.
I was reading something from earlier from yours.
Yeah,
my internet completely conked, so sorry about that.
Yeah, mine was fucked up. That was why I was a little bit late. Anyway, I was reading Bill Reel's thing because that was the first thing I thought of to bring up. But we can go back to what you were talking about.
Oh, I was talking about, Lindsay did a long podcast on 2 and 2 make 4. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I got to log back in, but I don't know what happened to the internet because it's still like all the lights were on, like it still showed on. So I unplugged it and plugged it back in myself.
Gotcha.
But it just totally froze on both computers and my cell phone. So it's like something's wrong.
How is everybody feeling about World War III? I'm not saying it's going to happen. I am not saying that it's going to happen.
This episode right here, 2 and 2 make 4, goes into detail about how those postmodern professors at Harvard tried to discuss. I mean, it was an hour and a half long.
True.
But they literally try to argue for it and say that it's oppressive to not accept these different ways of knowing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. RFM, he said, have we officially entered into the era where 4 is not the correct answer to what is 2 plus 2? And what he doesn't understand, he's saying that like it's a negative thing. That's a positive thing. That's progress. We are progressing beyond.
It's Western ways of thinking and raping science and reality.
You got to decentralize white supremacist Western ways of knowing. There's a term for you to Google. Ways of knowing. It's retarded. Google it. You'll find all sorts of retarded shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that exact professor who kept pushing that stuff, because they had a long back and forth about all this, and that whole podcast gets into the detail. They actually do. They only claim 2 and 2 can equal 5. Not that it does. They say it usually equals 4, in fact, but asserting that 4 is the only right answer unjustly denies other possibilities.
Yes, it does. Well, no, it justly denies other possibilities. It's discriminatory. Yeah, I know. You want to know? I was actually very discriminatory when I was at BYU, Idaho, and I wanted to date a girl. I wanted to date a person. I discriminated against all of the men. I discriminated against all of the unattractive people too. I was incredibly discriminatory, and that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the original professor who was pushing it, but I can't find it. It's in that podcast there if you listen to it, because we're not going to listen to that whole thing. What were we talking about? The other stuff before that?
I was talking about Blue Rio.
Oh, you're talking about Blue Rio?
Yeah, I was reading his stupid ass post. But,
and the Iran thing, Taco Trump. Let me see here. There it is, right there. Nearly 2 people in this never received. Trans activists discovering the concept of control groups for the first time is genuinely hilarious. But I mean, that's also one of the complaints about the whole entire thing. You got a 25-year study. This stuff that has as what was it, Shriver or that other lady says we all know is a Helen Joyce has a whole entire book about how this is obviously a social contagion. But going back 25 years, there's not going to be that much to study, obviously. So they had like 15 or 20 different groups. But one of the things that they went into crazy detail about, with Jonathan Streeter's gone into this more, through the Cass report and the WPATH files, is all of those things did. You know how like Trump said in his tweet there that 100% of the MAGA, I've got 100% of support within MAGA. Well, that's the same way that they did the trans review studies, is that 100% of the people were reported being positive about this sorts of stuff. they excluded out. It's called p-hacking. They p-hack out, or anybody who didn't return or disappeared or bailed out of the study were just counted as positive. They did so much p-hacking. It's unreal. We have not analyzed anything in depth. The findings are deeply concerning. Yeah. Anyway, off from that one. The you wanna look at Britt Hartley's patriarchy stuff?
Yes.
Or do you want to talk Mom Donnie's equity plan?
Long story short, Mom Donnie's racist. Big shocker. Mom Donnie is a bigot. Who knew? Anyway,
yeah, I guess we do that one fast. Yeah, that's the whole entire thing here.
Things that have shown that the wealth of a median white household in the city is more than $200,000, while that of a black household is less than $20,000. This is not an indictment of any one New Yorker. It is an indictment, however, of policies and politics that have persisted.
We're doing median here, right?
Yeah.
We're doing median income, right? Not mean, because median would be the most honest way to frame it, right?
Yeah.
Certainly we are.
The also the median age of black households of black people in New York is 20 something, and the median age of the whites in New York is 55 something. That's one of the main things that Thomas Sowell always brings up, is they always just they never do a multivariate analysis of like why there's differences.
You mean you got to consider more than one variable?
That's weird.
Is that what multivariate analysis means?
Stop using your white Western tools on me.
This plan was born during a defining moment in our city's history, when New Yorkers were in the streets in the midst of a global pandemic, calling for justice, demanding accountability, and bearing witness to brutality unfolding on our streets and on our screens. In that moment, our city was asked to reckon with the deep systemic inequities that have long shaped life here and to do better. New Yorkers across all 5 boroughs answered that call. Their voices, their advocacy, and their persistence are what brought us to this moment. The release of the preliminary citywide racial equity plan is a reflection of that collective mandate.
The plan's literally saying that they will tax the white people to give it to the black people. Like,
yeah, I know.
What was so funny is like we were kind of joking around that Trump and the right wing and all that infighting and stuff. The right is just stepping on rakes left and right, left and right, left and right. Do you know that they are still 5 points more popular than Democrats? Right
yeah,
now?
that was nuts.
The party just went so bananas nuts. And sometimes I wish there was a rational world in that world that was still worth considering if things got nuts enough anywhere else. But we only have Stephen A. Smith.
If we were talking to him, he'd be like, did y'all know that black people in New York only earn $20,000 and the white people earn $200,000? Like, well, yeah, actually the average age of white people is like 55 and the average age of black people in New York is like 22. So 22-year-olds are always going to make a lot less than 50-year-olds. They're less established. And he'd be like, what? I didn't know that shit. All right. Nope. I stand corrected. You are correct, sir. And I'd be like, I fucking love you, Stephen A. Smith. You're an honest dummy. I love it.
BuzzFeed has this article on women are sharing ways on how to detect whether a man is actually liberal from a mile away, and you're going to want to take notes.
Well,
number one, he's definitely left-leaning if he's not afraid of the word tampons.
What? Okay.
If number two, you listen.
I have purchased tampons for my wife.
You got to collect these. You got to find out what the shibboleths are to find out who's.
Okay, so I'm definitely left-leaning because I'm not afraid of tampons, and I picked them up several times from the store for my wife. But okay, two. Man supports LGBTQIA plus rights. Even better, he can say. Wait, okay, that one's stupid because that's.
Did you read the whole thing?
Even better, he can say another man is hot without fearing people will think he's gay. Well, it's not that I can look at a man, like I can look at Ryan Gosling, like he's a very good looking man. I'm not going to say hot because hot implies that I am attracted to him, and I'm not afraid that people think I'm gay. I'm just not gay.
Do you feel you can tell what women would think is hot or not? I feel like I can't tell very well. Like you can obviously tell when somebody's like fit-ish and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But like I don't understand why Jake Gyllenhaal is not the number one heartthrob, right? Like I don't get it. Like why do you never hear women talking about Jake Gyllenhaal?
You're right. I thought I had a good grasp of it, and then the phenomenon of the rat boy happened. And okay, Miles Teller's the hottest guy. Like he's not ugly, but he looks kind of like a weasel a little bit. But okay, he doesn't ask for a body count within the first few dates. Well, I never did that. I'll be honest with you. I did not ask my 18-year-old Mormon fiance for a body count. So I'm 2 for 3 so far. But that number 2, that was stupid. If a man supports LGBTQIA plus rights, well, no shit. It's like how to understand if he's liberal. That number 2 is basically if he's liberal. Or when they ask you do a lot of when they ask you a lot of genuine questions to get to know you and don't try to challenge what you said when you answer, I find that liberal men usually care a lot more about women as individuals. No, I didn't do that. I was like, she's like, well, I really like the band AWOL Nation. And I was like, would you shut the fuck up, bitch? I'm talking about me, okay? Shut the fuck. I don't care about you. I just want to put my cock in you and have you make me sandwiches and bring me beers. Okay, the biggest blue flag. Blue. Okay, I get it. Is if he's in therapy and is comfortable working through his issues and trauma with professionals.
Yeah, that's the world nowadays. Is like women want to hear that you're in therapy or they're not interested.
Well, and it's working through his issues and trauma. That just kind of implies that everyone has trauma. If everyone has trauma, it's not really a meaningful word anymore.
Yeah, I found the thing of a Rat Boy Summer So I guess like all the women find these rat boys attractive. You remember my theory with this one, right?
Oh, remind me.
I believe that rat boy face is a sign of Nepo baby because it's fetal alcohol syndrome. And fetal alcohol syndrome between boys and girls is starting to appear as a trait of high society, because all the high society people have fetal alcohol syndrome kids and put them in Hollywood. And now that's starting to be a marker of somebody who's well bred, at least Hollywood bred. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it.
All right. Well, let me check the rest of the list. I want to see if
Man,
I'm going to be attractive.
The left can't meme. The left can't make short bullet point lists. Go ahead.
We're not on the list right now. Oh, there we go. It's always a good sign when he has close, positive, platonic relationships with women. My now husband is very close to the female friend. Had a close female mentor. I fucking failed that one. I don't know.
I don't think they're generally crazy that you have a bunch of. Well, at least
there's a lot of women that I would call friends, but like I wouldn't even consider hanging out with them one-on-one, you know?
I've got a couple like longtime friends since junior high, but it's like a catch up once every year type thing for just back and forth on Facebook here and there. So
Stanley Cups. All right. I'm dropping off, man.
I thought they had a big old problem with all those
well,
I mean, isn't that hockey?
No.
Oh.
Well, it is.
Oh, having a I'm thinking of those cups
yeah,
you're having a big Stanley Cup.
That's actually okay. I don't have a Stanley Cup, but the reason I don't have a Stanley Cup is because I find consumerism and capitalism to be problematic. So does that make me double liberal? Okay, I'm failing out here. 9. I think it's a good indicator a man is liberal leaning if they don't shy away from conversations about women's health, like someone's period. Even better if they're comfortable buying tampons for their girlfriend, wife, daughter, etc. Now, could a person with those qualities also be conservative? Sure, but I have not met any yet. Oh, and attending International Women's Day events in support of their girlfriend is all. No, okay. You said a bunch of things there. I will buy my wife tampons. Yes, like if she says something like, I feel kind of gross, I'm on my period. I'm like, okay, I don't get uncomfortable with it. But like, I don't know, if a random woman at work starts talking about her period, I'm like, ugh. And I know you're not supposed to go ugh, but like, you're talking about blood coming out of you. It could be coming, like, if I have blood coming out of my asshole and I tell you about it, you're gonna be like, ugh. You'll probably turn me into HR for that. He doesn't get mad at women when you drop hard facts about misogyny and microaggressions. Nah,
Did you know that pink razors cost more than blue razors?
Buy the blue razors, you fucking moron. It's capitalism. That's how it works. When you mass produce things, this is like the fat acceptance thing. I remember the fat acceptance thing talking about how like shirts for people who are 800 pounds cost more than shirts from people who are 200 pounds. And a lot of people come up with sort of the dumb childish argument of, well, it's more fabric. And yeah, it is, but that's not you can mass produce. There's more people that are 200 pounds than people that are 800 pounds. All right. That's just the way it is. You can mass produce them. And so the manufacturer will give them to you for cheaper and you can sell them for cheaper. You pass the savings off to the consumer. All right, if he wears a sweater around his... that's gay. Nope, that's gay. I'm not gonna... Fucking gay. Come on. Give me something not gay. Blue flags. Being kind to waitstaff and cashiers. Returning your shopping cart to the cart corral. You're just saying good things. This lady's just saying... and saying please and thank you. Okay, that's...
the conservative dudes return the shops to shopping.
I know. I bet they do it more.
That one, you got the wrong shibboleth there.
I bet they do it way more.
Worse. The other guys take it home to their tent camp on the street that they're living in.
This is retarded. Any complaint about the economy and prices is a blue flag. You've never met a conservative that complains about the economy. Okay, first off, You're just thinking of right now. Were you born yesterday?
Yeah, it depends on the administration.
Because, like, that was my brother-in-law texted the family chat like a week ago with gas prices, and he's like, "It's expensive. Consider this my vote to impeach the president." And I was like, "Yeah, that was literally me in 2022 when it were like $2 more." Impeach the president. Okay, let's see. They're paying twice. I live with a lot of MAGA men who... Yeah, okay, I'm not doing that. A big blue flag for me is when I tell a man I'm a mechanical engineer and they don't act disgusted or tell me it's a man's job or that I'm too manly. Conservatives never respond positive. These are shower conversations.
Marty, who hangs out on our channel, is an engineer, and not one of us cringed at it.
Wait, who acts... Even if they tell you that that's a man's job, they're not acting disgusted. Seeing the dentist every 6 to 9 months.
Oh man, they got
there's a lot of
points. How the hell many points? Well, anyway, we'll zip through them.
He knows a few. Oh, sorry, you go.
Oh, go ahead.
He knows a few or more female professional athletes, and there's no. What the fuck? Flip is the only person not the only man the only person I know that would know stats of females. Okay. He doesn't ask for your number. He gives you his. Oh, shut the fuck up. You're a person. Feminists don't think women have.
And trad chicks hate that.
Yeah. Liberal guys generally try to pronounce uncommon names correctly and go out. Shut the fuck up.
Carlos Soria Gonzalez Johnson.
Well, I use this example all the time when I'm on my mission and they see my name and they try to read it and they're like, Higidon. I don't go, it's Higdon, you fucking racist. It's a different language. Okay. My partner is willing and able to discuss his emotions fag. Just kidding. You can talk about your emotions, whatever. All right, next one.
No.
They don't use incel alpha male language and actually participate in real conversations that don't... Shut up. If a man isn't intimidated by the fact that I have PhD, he's not. He's not. He's intimidated. He's not intimidated. He's irritated by the fact that you're a cunt. Because I promise you're a cunt. I know that. By just that one sentence, you're a cunt.
Are you a PhD in the narratives of superheroes and critical race theory? Like that?
Yeah. He drives a Subaru and doesn't care that I make more money than him. Well, okay. I did drive a Subaru until a fat, woke lesbian rear-ended me at 45 miles an hour. Now I drive a Nissan Versa. Thank you very much. Because it was cheap. The guy I'm dating.
In my world, it's been far more the women who don't like that the guy doesn't make more money than them than the reverse.
Oh, it absolutely is. It's not even. There's stats behind it. The guy I'm dating said something along the lines of, "Can you believe what the orange fuck said?" Like, okay, shut up. Oh my god.
I literally lit up inside. Yeah, this chick came up to me and said, "Isn't Biden incoherent?" And I popped a boner.
Oh yeah, I got hard. Nail polish on men usually indicates No, it indicates one of two things. It indicates either that he's signaling to you and he's a fucking cuttlefish, or he has daughters. It could be one of two things. And that's it.
I think this is the last one.
And finally,
he knows what the Bechdel test is. Oh,
okay, I guess I know what the Bechdel test is. So
I've known what the Bechdel test is for 20 years.
Yeah.
The Bechdel test also is basically ruined movies because they feel like they got to slip it into every single possible thing. If people don't know, the Bechdel test is two women in a movie have to be talking to each other about something that's not a man. And if that's not in there, there's no Bechdel test is passed. This thing here, Vocal Distance says, I will once again remind you that Jordan Peterson said our culture is saturated with fertility suppression propaganda aimed at young women, and you can see it everywhere. You won't find a more accurate visual representation. It shows a guy on his knee bending down to a woman, and the shadows behind is him cutting her wings, because it's totally him. Like, marriage is all just dudes just wanting to hold women down. That's what marriage has always been.
Yeah, he's actually completely lying about that. I am so in love with you that I want to wake up next to you every day. I want to have children with you, and I want a little girl that looks just like her mom, and I want to show my kids how awesome their mom is. And I want to grow old with you, and I want to die hand in hand. Actually, he just wants to clip your fucking wings. That's it.
All right, time for this. Are you ready for this?
Ugh.
Do you have spots you want to jump to, or just kind of get through it? I don't think we'll get through the whole 40 minutes. I remember by 12 minutes in, I had to stop and pause and come back to it, and maybe a couple more times later because she says plenty of stupid stuff after that. But
yeah, I didn't put timestamps down. It's just, but she doesn't go a full 20 seconds without saying something fucking retarded.
It's the biggest supporters of patriarchy and defend it even stronger than men. Hi, I'm Britt Hartley. I have a master's degree in theology. I discuss spirituality and
I presuppose this patriarchy crap.
Religion in America without the nonsense. So let's talk about the psychology of what the hell is going on with this kind of woman here. And it's not all blondes, but always a blonde, right? So
what the heck is that supposed to mean? It's not all blondes, but always a blonde.
from the outside, it just looks so paradoxical. Why would women defend systems that historically have limited their freedom? Why are women defending such problematic men? Why do many women support strong male leaders, rigid gender roles, patriarchal religions? If patriarchy so disadvantages women, why are they the ones that are sometimes the loudest voices in helping to sustain it? Now, the easy answer is something like they're idiots or it's brainwashing, but that honestly,
or it doesn't,
is a bullshit answer. It's far more psychologically complex than that. So I'm going to go through the psychology of what's going on with this particular personality type. And then at the end, I'm going to share a little personal story about me and my mommy. So, you know, stay tuned for that if you want some lore about my own mother. So let's first talk about patriarchy as a survival strategy and defending patriarchy as a survival strategy. So for most of human history, survival is brutal. Like before modern medicine, law enforcement, social safety nets, women faced extreme vulnerability during their pregnancies. Physical violence was common. Food scarcity was frequent. Protection really mattered. And Me Too, in an evolutionary lens, where a man could go to jail if he took advantage of you. That happened like yesterday.
So knowing this, knowing what you know, Britt, that holy fuck, is that Huck?
Where?
Do you have a different dog? Or is that Huck?
That's Huck.
Dude, he looks huge.
Oh, he's just grown a whole lot. He's a year old now.
Yeah,
he's hit a year on March 31st, but he's gonna be the size. He's the exact size of Charlie. He's Charlie's brother. So
yeah, I know. I guess I didn't see. Last time I saw Charlie was a puppy too. Anyway, so keep this in mind for later on in her video, so she's talking right now about patriarchy as a survival technique, and how she actually talks specifically about the dangers of pregnancy back in, like caveman days. Pregnancy is very taxing on women. We didn't have modern advancements. It's still very taxing on women. Recovery from childbirth, having to constantly be with the baby to nurse him. So, yeah, there's certain strategies that would be like being with one man for a long time, right? And if you want to be with one man for a long time, the man also has a dating strategy. And his dating strategy is, first off, he wants to propagate his own genes. The disadvantage that the man has in propagating his own genes is that he has no surefire way of knowing that the baby that comes out of her has his genes. So the type of woman he is going to try to breed with in caveman days would be a woman who doesn't fuck around a lot. And an outward primitive indication of that might be her level of promiscuity. So keep in mind, she's basically acknowledging all this right now. And then later, she's going to tell you about how an example of patriarchy is a woman telling her daughter to dress modestly. She's taking reality and she's observing reality and she's describing it as patriarchy. All within reality is patriarchy. It's almost like a worship of patriarchy.
I mean, it starts out with the presupposition of how the cosmos works, or how it could have or should have or might have been, without any sort of, and then it's so weird to me to then turn around after setting the presupposition that it was some sort of chosen situation, then starting to use the Evo psych and all that sort of stuff after it from there. It's just ridiculous to me, but
like not long enough for our evolutionary impulses to adjust. Just like with sugar, like we now have sugar all around us all the time, but our bodies still act as if we need it all right now because this fruit is only going to be ripe this week. So evolutionarily, our survival as women has been how to survive in the system and find the right bully to protect you.
So we need to evolve? Like we need to artificially evolve?
In those environments in the past, aligning with strong male authority structures could literally mean survival, particularly in the past 10,000 years when patriarchy kind of
could literally mean survival. It could.
No way. It did.
Did the whole entire time.
Over the world after the agricultural revolution. And so anthropologists often describe patriarchy as a protection contract. So men put the system in place, but then women have to negotiate within that system to survive. And one of the most important concepts here comes from a feminist scholar whose name is Denise Candioti, I think is how you say her name, who used the phrase patriarchal bargain to describe how women survive inside these male-dominated systems. And the idea is really simple, but it's quite powerful.
Patriarchal bargain. I mean, the framing of it just starts from this whole, I mean, Starbase has, they just view everything as a gender war, no team mentality. I mean, exactly. I mean, just that framing is just ridiculous.
It's that even when a system is unequal, people still learn how to survive inside of it and gain status within it and make it work for them as best they can, rather than try to overthrow an entire system. So a patriarchal bargain can look like this. If I accept these gender roles.
If they would have overthrown it at any time prior to the past 20 years, they would have killed all of us, and they still might.
Support male authority, perform the kind of femininity that this system rewards. I may not get freedom, but I get protection, I get belonging, I get moral status, I get stability, I get to be adored by many men, and then, other women will be jealous of me, I'll get some status in society. And so for a lot of human history, that actually was maybe the smartest thing to do if you want to survive. Like if you were in China at the time, the best thing to do.
Perhaps. I didn't even, okay, I got the chat got
as a mother for your daughter, which breaks my heart.
Really?
I'm going to use this analogy.
Stuff to read?
Yeah, well, it was just while we were reading that article, Mr. Croissant asked us to early life the writer.
Various times in this video, the best thing to do for your daughter to help her survival was to bind her feet. It was not men who bound the feet of little girls. Men ran the show, certainly, and men wanted incapacitated women. They found that very hot because there's not much you can do when you have lotus feet, but lay around in bed for you.
Okay,
but because a woman's survival depended on the system.
Now I got to research this. Thanks a lot, Brett. Because my suspicion here is with a lot of beauty trends in our society, it hasn't fuck all to do with men. The feet binding thing.
Yeah.
I'm suspecting that has more to do with women than men.
Like so many other things.
Yeah, well, it's the gigantic eyelash extensions. That's not a man thing. Botox, that's not a man thing. You're not conforming.
It's intersexual competition. It wasn't.
You're competing against other women, and you have, just like how we were talking about how we're not sure if we're able to accurately define the type of man that a woman would be attracted to as accurately as you would. Women can't do that very well for men either. So they're like, oh, he's not going to like a woman with crow's feet, but he would like a woman with a bunch of fucking silicone injected into her cheeks.
Yeah. Have you heard the thing too, just what I started out with, that thing from Local Distance, that the whole concept of these older women who already have all the things in life, they already have the kids, they already have the family, going and doing this stuff, teaching young girls to start thinking this way and making themselves just socially incompatible to ever view anything with the opposite sex as anything other than a war and oppression, is a form of intersexual competition itself. You and Julie Hanks are doing unknowingly intersexual competition and removing other women out of the gene market unwittingly.
It was the mothers and the grandmothers who took a little girl's feet and broke them and fit them into tiny shoes.
The concept of pulling up the ladder. They start talking about this stuff and they start doing this stuff after they already have the rich husbands and the whole bunch of kids and the perfect little trad life. It's a luxury belief. It's a Rob Henderson luxury belief, 100%. You're going to start pushing onto other people and going and giving them ideas and doing all sorts of stuff. An idea in a life that you do not live in any way, shape, or form. You live inside the nest of the thing that has been taking care of you exactly the same as those. I mean, it's not a blonde. It's not always or what is it? They're not all blondes, but it's always a blonde or something. I guess you're one of them. You are one of them.
And it's because if you didn't, she wouldn't survive.
Well, it's also, I don't know. Maybe I've hit on the point too much that it's always the men's fault. Yes, it was women who were binding the feet of their children. And the implication is, but they were doing it for men who I guess found crunched up, fucked up, disformed or disfigured feet attractive. Is that what we're getting at here? They're like, oh, you got some decent feet, but they'd look nice if they were just crunched into a disgusting looking ball and you were in pain all the time.
what I think happens with that happens like all over the place, just like the rat face. My same theory with the rat face, because those are high status males in our society. All the nepo baby. This is, of course, that's just my dumb theory. But what if what happened? Like, you remember when Kim Kardashian all of a sudden changed the general concept of what seems sexy? Suddenly you need to have some big dump truck butt and all that sorts of stuff. All it was is one person stood out and got a ton of attention. And then a ton of people did wackadoo things trying to make themselves look like that one person that got major attention. I bet you that's what happened more often than not of when any sort of beauty standard changed. It was some sort of envy of seeing somebody else that got a bunch of attention because that person had small feet or something like that. And that created a bunch of attention. I had a thought of writing a book, and now maybe I'll do it now that I can have AI do it for me every 2-3 months and say, write a book. But I always had this idea of an alien invasion coming to Earth, but those alien invasion are higher status than us, and they're better than us in every way, but they're weird looking, but they're just way better than us. And what did the women all start doing? They all start having plastic surgery to look like those weird aliens.
They get antenna to their forehead.
There's actually an old story about this, about the rain god. It's called like the Tolchok, something of Tolchok. And I think it was written by Carlos Fuentes or one of these old Latin American writers who talked about how this rain god was an old Aboriginal rain god. And then he got boosted into the new world where there was the new white men and the Spaniards and all that stuff around. And that god himself started seeing all of those white men and seeing that they were pretty cool and started wanting to look like them. So he started trying to make his skin whiter, like Michael Jackson and all sorts of stuff. Porfirio Diaz, he was one of the presidents of Mexico, and like in, I don't know, a little over 100 years ago. And he started like walking around in like giant boot shoes and whitening his skin with powder and all that sorts of stuff because he was trying to look high status, like the people he viewed as high status type deal. And women do that sort of thing all the time. Oh, you got a guy there. Do you want?
Yeah, I got a guy there. I'll be right back.
No one would take care of her. She would be vulnerable. If she got pregnant, no one would be able to care for her. She couldn't go out and get a job. And so women became the enforcers of binding feet, even though they had memories of their feet being broken and bound as little girls. It can override all of that because mothers helping their daughters survive in patriarchy and supporting patriarchy, if you do well in it, was the best that you could at least subconsciously hope for. It's the bargaining that you're doing with the system. And so in societies where women had limited access to independent income, legal rights, inheritance, physical protection, public authority,
it wasn't bargaining, it was reality. Like the thing that Thomas Sowell always argues about, that they're arguing and fighting with the cosmos, is this like weird Gnostic obsession of trying to defeat what we are born into and just what the reality of the situation is. Troy says, I've heard that males and females work together in providing for and raising children in many bird species. Where do the humans go wrong? You don't know that male birds are misogynistic. Did Risto take off? Yeah, I didn't see Risto take off. Risto took off without even offering a goodbye taco. Yeah, Mrs. Godwin, buenas noches. Still going.
Birth control, attaching yourself to a powerful man or a male-led moral system was often the safest available route. And so,
not often. It's how we evolved together. It's how we grew together. It's why we're here.
Safety might come through a father or a husband or the church or a very powerful son and community reputation. And so the system did not just say submit. It said if you submit correctly, you will be protected and you will be honored and you will be valued, far more so than if you try to overthrow this.
It was submission all around, just like turtles all the way down. We all submitted to the cosmos and the reality of the cosmos. Men had to wake up and toil every day to take care of and raise these children. It was always only the two of us together was the only way we got to where we are right now.
System, and you get socially rejected and you're out there in the outskirts. And so that is the bargain. So psychologically, this matters because people do not usually attach themselves to systems only because they are forced to. They attach themselves to systems because those systems distribute rewards. And patriarchy often rewards women. And in America today, it would be specifically white women who conform. And that gives them a form of...
There was no other option for any of us.
indirect power. And that last point, the indirect power that you get, is really important because women in patriarchal cultures often gain relational power more than they ever have direct power. So they may not be the king, but they can be the king's wife and have servants and have honor and have all the things that she wants as the king's wife. She can be the mother of sons. She can be the guardian of the home. She can be the moral center of the family. And the woman who knows how things are done, the woman who polices the boundaries of decency, can get that kind of indirect power in society. And that kind of power is real, even if it's constrained.
You are the one saying that it is less powerful than everybody else knows that it is. It is one of the most major powers of society. We are in a matriarchal society. It's matrilineal. Women's choice and women's choosing in breeding and all that sorts of stuff, and how they rearrange our social arrangements is as powerful a force as anything else has ever been.
Kevin, then she can sue the fuck out of the king for half the kingdom.
This is why women are often not just victims of patriarchy, but its strongest enforcers. Because if your own security depends on the rules staying in place, then another woman breaking down those rules isn't just rebellion, it's danger. It threatens the moral structure that gives your life coherence and gives your sacrifice meaning. And that
the whole framework is just so I don't even know what to call it.
That's why patriarchal systems so often.
Your starting point is off, and from there, everything else can only be off. Even if you start trying to do sensible review analysis from there, you know what I mean? Which I think can argue for like a whole bunch of stuff that you get from the left. Like your premise of the world is often wrong. Your premise of the world is conspiratorial, and if you start from that, everything else is going to be a little bit off because the whole a priori belief of the system, your first principles are not true.
Starbase is onto something. Starbase said, so having a stable relationship is a bad thing. Yep. You're starting to understand Simone de Beauvoir, okay? But you're only at second wave. We're way past that. You got to get with the intersectional program.
Other women. You see it in mothers teaching their daughters modesty, in older women shaming younger women for sexuality, in church cultures where women are the fiercest defenders of male leadership, in social systems where women themselves uphold the standards that limit them. And it's not just because women are uniquely cruel or they're just doing it. Like a lot of people have said to me, like their mothers and grandmothers do this because it's revenge. Like I'm miserable, so I need to make you miserable too. And there may be an attitude of that, but deeply psychologically, that's not what's happening. It's that once people adapt to a system, they begin to defend the terms under which they survived. So in Mormonism, where I was raised,
your situation is you are happy 100% with the traditional life that you put yourself into with kids and a monogamous situation, and you are pushing on others taking the risks that you didn't take so that they can deal with the fallout of those risks going badly, but you never would have had to deal with it, but you can feel yourself as a savior for having pushed women.
Jenna Reese, who does fantastic work in the data around Mormonism, did a study that showed that more Mormon women were against women getting the priesthood than Mormon men, for example. So in this scenario, it wasn't men fighting against women and making sure they never get the priesthood.
Wait until you find out about women's suffrage. I hate to break it to you about women's suffrage, but that was all men who voted for that too.
And get into positions of power. It was women largely policing other women. And there's a deep cognitive and emotional logic to this, that if you paid a high price to succeed within a system, you want to believe that the system was worth it. Otherwise, you have to face a very, very painful reality, which is that you sacrifice your freedom, your voice, your authentic self for something unjust and something that you can't change. And brains are going to resist that conclusion. Like the understanding that you gave up your life for nothing and you're not even powerful enough to change that system. That's so overwhelming that the brain would just rather say this system.
You can't fight the cause. I can't fight the cosmos. Oh, it's overwhelming. I can't fight this cosmos.
Yeah, you can't fight the cosmos, but it does feel like most of feminist complaints is they view essentially, if I were to accept all of their premises on their worldview, it would be like men are allowed to play the lottery and women are not. And I don't accept their premises, but if I did, that's what it would be. Men can play the lottery, women cannot, therefore men are privileged. And you'd be like, well, yeah, but like, I'm not going to win the lottery. I'm going to have it just as shitty as you do. Maybe it's nice that I just have that chance to think that maybe I'm the one in a trillion that's going to win the lottery, but I'm not. Also, I don't accept that. Like, it's just not true. Women can play the lottery. It's any benefit that women get out of our current system or out of any system ever. it's because of patriarchy. I want to just ask her, like, okay, what about women and children on the lifeboats first? And I bet it would be something along the lines of, I'm sure you could answer this, but my guess is it's something along the lines of, that's because they're keeping the women safe so that other men that survive them can use them as resources or some shit. Like, I don't know. What would be the feminist answer to that?
Yeah, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something like that. Like, women most affected. You know, all the men die in war. Women most affected. You know, just always turns back to that. Which, speaking of which, there was stuff coming up today about the draft. I think Jonathan gave us a post about that. I have to scroll up to find it. But there was also another post that, like in Germany, young men aren't allowed to travel right now for possible use in a draft if that comes up. And
Troy asked, if the U.S. is an oppressive patriarchy, what country or nation is doing it right? Where can we look for inspiration as to how to do it? Well, the browner ones do it a little bit more right, but they don't do it quite right. The only ones that do it right are obscure indigenous tribes that we don't know much about, but we're pretty sure that they're matriarchal.
They existed in the past somewhere for sure. And they for sure had that system for sure. We totally know that because some anthropologists surmised it.
System is great. I just need to find my way, you know, to make the best of it. And so they reinterpret the system as good and natural and moral and sacred and necessary. And this is where patriarchal bargaining overlaps with what's called system justification, that people defend the systems they depend on because psychologically it's easier than admitting that they're dependent on something that sucks or depending on something that's unfair that they can't change. Like, it's less distressing.
It sucks that I'm dependent on food. Like, it sucks. Like, I guess I just have, you know, my brain's just justifying that. My determined brain just has to justify that it sucks that I have to depend on food.
Well, it's funny that I don't know, they talk all about male privilege and stuff, but they never talk about the actual, because there are a couple of privileges that males generally have, but they're just cosmic privileges. It is a privilege to not have to deal with a period. I'm sure that's not convenient. I'm sure it's not fun. Have your hormones shift, have to wear a pad and a tampon. That's got to be a pain in the ass. Deal with childbirth, having children from it, like deal with a more of a time crunch on your biological clock. Men can have kids when they're like 50 plus, women can't. Yeah, there's a lot of ways that males have some sort of a privilege over females. And if you complained about that, I would have some sympathy and I'd be like, yeah, you know, that sucks. I'm sorry you don't have that thing I have, but you never do. It's never that.
Yeah.
To your psyche to say this order is good and I have an honored place within it, than to say this order limits me, but I need it to survive, and to rebel would mean losing everything and the rebellion would probably fail. So what the hell do I do now? Like, that's hard. Like, that's hard for a brain to find your way to orient in that. And so that is the part that people miss. Patriarchy is not just a political arrangement. It's really an emotional arrangement that goes back for at least the past 10,000 years since the dawn of patriarchy, with the changes that came with agriculture. And so when women support patriarchal religion or
Is that when it dawned 10,000 years ago? Like,
it dawned with capitalism.
10,000 years. That's when it happened. That's when What was it before that?
we all just lived in kumbaya. You know, it was the noble savage, perfect little life. The modernity.
I remember Louis C.K. doing this joke, and it was like a funny joke, but it relies on the noble savage. And that's what I thought of when she said this. Like, yeah, before people came here, like, they're like, what do you, like, God comes back and he's like, what are you taking out of the ground? It's like, oil. It makes us go faster. Like, I gave you legs, use them to walk. Why are you killing all these cows and factory farming them? Well, then why like the food? Like, I put food literally everywhere. Before that, people were just eating and fucking and having a good time. And I think he's smart enough to know that that's just a joke. That's a setup for a bit. But it feels like that's what most people actually think. It's like what before that terrible, whatever 10,000-year-old terrible event happened, before we had patriarchy. Oof.
Yeah, there it is. Automatic registration for U.S. military eligible draft men to begin in December. Boy, oh boy. And it's happening in other countries too at the same time. As Mitchell says right there, the female, what does it say? The female privileges that males are disposable, females are not. Yes, we are cannon fodder. We
I know.
They don't need as many of us, and they can send us off to wars.
How disposable does our patriarchal society deem women? It's funny. It's a little off topic, but the same
it's a
thing.
gynocentric society.
Yeah, it was. Somebody today was talking about the draft and so we'll just pretend you have bone spurs. Trump dodged the draft, and I was like, "Are you talking about for Vietnam?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "How worthwhile do you personally think that war was? You think we did a good thing going into Vietnam?" I'm like, no. Okay, so he was right to dodge it. Of course, he dodged the draft. Like, why? If you can, why wouldn't you? He's a coward. What are you, suddenly a fucking right-wing boomer?
Yeah. Let's see. Going back to this, she talks about Phyllis Schlafly like a little bit later. I'll get to it, but one of the things Phyllis Schlafly was vocally against, was the Equal Rights Amendment. And one of the reasons Phyllis Schlafly, the conservative, was against the Equal Rights Amendment is one of these things that who's it? Kate Kelly, who always pushes. She claims that she's a lawyer working towards the Equal Rights Amendment and going around and pushing it like there's some. The only thing the Equal Rights Amendment really does is make it so that women would then be required to enter the draft. You know, there's not anything like you have all these privileges without the responsibilities all over the place. And that's one of the reasons Phyllis Schlafly didn't want to have anything to do with it. And she says the movie by Kate Blanchett was a documentary on Phyllis Schlafly, which if you go to this society here, the Eagle Forum Education, it's Phyllis Schlafly. Look up like all the lies that were told in the movie Mrs. America about Phyllis Schlafly and Kate Blanchett. Not to go off on a tangent on that sort of thing, but it's just endless lies all over the place on it. But I mean, she called it a documentary. But Kate Blanchett making a movie about Phyllis Schlafly, like I used to joke to you, like my friend wanted me to go see the Dick Cheney movie made by Hollywood. I'm like, no, do I want to go see the Hillary Clinton movie made by Dinesh D'Souza? Like, it's just, like, I don't want to see either one of them. That's just pure unadulterated propaganda.
that was this dude the dude at work was talking about the Warner Bros buyout and how it's bullshit and how it would have been better if Netflix got it. And I was like, why? And he's like, it's Paramount now, and Paramount's owned by some like conservative shithead. And I was like, okay, so I'll get Jesus shit in my propaganda instead of gay shit. Like, if I had to choose one, I guess I'd go with Jesus. But like, Jesus propaganda is not great. Christian films suck ass. But like, if you're gonna be indoctrinated into queer theory or Christianity, I'm going Christianity all the way.
This is the propaganda movie on Phyllis Schlafly called Mrs. America, which the reason she's persona non grata is because she put a stop to a big movement that was pushing the Equal Rights Amendment. Has been around for years. And of course, they kind of fluff it up with kind of some bullshit propaganda of why it's only good one direction. And she kind of put a stop to it. She got really famous kind of in the 60s, going around talking about how she wasn't down for it and got a lot of people, a lot of women to go against, but they're just doing this. What is it? The introvert, the self misogyny, whatever. I forget their dumb words all the time. But the internalized misogyny type stuff. But I mean, that movie is, it's such crap. Like, I cannot watch stuff made by people who, it's the same thing as like Norm Macdonald would say, of just people doing impersonations. Like, beyond impersonations, if there's not some love for the person or anything like that, but also biopics. Like, I will never watch a biopic made by somebody who just absolutely hates the other person. It's got, it's not so great to even watch them by somebody who loves the other person either.
You're about to talk about Julie Childs, aren't you? Or Julia Childs.
Oh, you brought it back up to me right there, and that sort of stuff. But those are people who loved her, but they only need to update her to be modern day uber progressive rather than who she really was. So they had to
be a little bi-curious.
But I mean, that's one of the things. If you go to the Eagle Forum, this thing here, wherever I had it, and just look up like the lies in the movie Mrs. America, and there's as much phony shit that was made up about that too, as was the phony shit that was made up about Julia Childs, somebody that they ostensibly liked, but they still had to make her more of a feminist than she actually was in that shitty show. Oh yeah, you shouldn't have got me on that one. Oh, here's old me watching these movies about Schlafly from Kate Blanchett and Julia Childs from HBO. ideologues. Yeah.
Strong male leaders. It's not because they've just failed to see the oppression. Sometimes it's because they have learned deep down in their nervous system that this system is where they get protection and meaning and survival. And so what I want people to understand about, the blonde woman with the Mar-a-Lago face is that her nervous system, like if you track all of her biomarkers, actually, you can prove this scientifically, actually feels safer around very strong problematic men. They feel safer in their body.
I promise you, like looked into it, like I have biomarkers that if I ate a hamburger, I would feel full. Like,
it's scientifically.
That's one. I'm just telling you. I promise you. If you go and like look up my.
Well, she says strong men a lot as if it's a pejorative, but right here is where she slips up and says strong problematic men, and it's as if problematic was always implied anytime she says strong men. Yeah. And you're like, hang on a sec. You're saying there's biomarkers that say that women feel safer around strong men. Wow.
No, in those women, they haven't thought the way
I could have saved you some time.
They haven't overcome their programming with their determinism brains that she assumes that they also have.
Bodies in a way that is real to their experience. It's paradoxical from the outside, but it's real and it's felt, and we see this pattern repeatedly. And because women feel safer in this system because it's where their nervous system learned that they are protected, then they are going to be the ones that are the fiercest enforcers of the patriarchy. So, for example, in the 19th century, women were the fiercest enforcers of strict sexual.
They're enforcers of a system that massively benefits them.
Norms. They ran purity societies. They policed other women's clothing. They shamed, fallen women and, called them sluts and whores and all the things because their social security as high status women depended on this system staying intact. And so if sexual norms collapsed, the entire system that guaranteed their stability in these high, these high money value marriages.
What else happens? In caveman days, what else happens if sexual norms collapse? If you just start fucking dudes, the type of dude who isn't going to stick around and help you raise the baby.
Well, I should have pulled up for this, but
species fucking dies out.
Literally every single civilization that grew to be massively successful initiated and started from strong nucleus families. Like every single one of them. Let's see.
Another example is the Salem witch trials. Many accusations came from women. It's not just hysteria. The community believed that witches threatened divine protection and social stability. And so by identifying deviants, they believed that they were protecting the moral order that was then going to protect them. So moral psychology describes this dynamic as system justification theory, that humans are deeply motivated to believe the systems they live within are fair and legitimate. And even disadvantaged groups will often defend the systems they rely on because believing the system is unjust creates unbearable instability. It's psychologically safer to say the system works, my role within it is meaningful, than to say I'm trapped in an unjust system with no protection. And so another powerful example is people with lower incomes defend economic systems that disadvantage them, because research shows that many people with low socioeconomic status still really believe people get what they deserve. The rich work harder. Anyone can succeed if they try. These beliefs persist even when they are dirt fucking poor. Because sometimes of even like structural inequality that makes upward mobility very difficult. They will still believe these ideas because psychologically believing that the system is fair and the rich are rich because they worked harder preserves a sense of order and hope. But if the system is unjust, then effort feels pointless and the world feels unstable. And what the hell do I do with this deck of cards that I was dealt and I can't change the game? That's very hard for brains. Humans crave stability and predictability and meaning and belonging. And so defending the system that hurts you actually in our nervous system can often feel safer than challenging it. Hey there, this is super weird, but I'm currently editing this video to be able to put it out, and I lost a piece of the video. I don't know, the tech gods ate it, whatever happened. So I was talking about patriarchal bargaining, and then I was talking about system justification theory, and then I had this transition where I talk about how I'm going to be going into Christianity and how Christianity in the West helps to train women that they are most safe under a patriarchal god and leader.
Didn't you say in one of our other videos she said Christianity was gay, but you should also call it gay because it'll help people get away?
Christianity is gay because all we talk about is the men, and the men, it's not homosexual, but it's homosocial. But if you tell them they're gay for worshiping men, it's awesome. Because anytime you go in there, she actually says when you go into a Christian church, you'll be like, oh, I didn't know you were gay. Like, what? I'm not gay. Like, well, you got your Jesus statue over there, and he's always like half naked and ripped. Like, how often is Jesus ripped? He's usually emaciated from 40 days of fasting, you retard. And he's half naked. He's mostly naked because he's being tortured to death.
politically and husband, and how it starts to condition women specifically within Christianity. So I missed, however, I did that transition and I just start randomly talking about God. And so I just wanted to add this here to let you know what happened there and where I'm going. And now back to your regularly scheduled message, where I'm just going to go right into the Christianity piece of this.
Okay.
God is powerful, authoritative, protective, morally decisive. And if someone grows up with that template, their nervous system learns something.
What's that?
Wait for the caveat. See if you can catch the caveat here in just a minute.
Very specific, that safety comes from strong authority. So when a powerful male leader appears, confident, decisive, aggressive, it can trigger that same attachment template, not intellectually, emotionally. It feels familiar. It feels the same way a little girl will feel when she has a good dad who she feels safe around. And so Christianity will strongly reinforce this archetype, that this very, very strong, problematic, sometimes God is actually where you're going to feel the most safety. And so your brain is trained to do that. And so God is framed as your father, your king, your Lord, your judge. And we emphasize obedience to authority. That safety and love from daddy is obedience to authority and divine order. So women are taught that men lead, women.
Speaking in the middle of all this, did you see the LDS guys were happy about this, bragging about it? And I guess it is a thing to go brag about, that the Institute of Family Studies ranked Utah amongst the #1 in 26 Family Structure Index. Highest share of married prime age adults, highest share of teens. We're in the patriarchy over here still.
Yeah, go Mormons.
Did you get to the caveat?
No, not yet.
It invites chaos, and you're not going to be safe in the house of daddy anymore. And you learn that this is all pre-verbal, you're taking all of this in as a Christian woman. And so in that framework, or a Christian child, in that framework, a dominant male leader is not really perceived as threatening. And you see this with Trump, that people love Trump when he's being a bully. And we're all just this is really inappropriate for a president to be this level of bully. But if you were raised, especially in Christianity, with all these other aspects, this can feel like the guardian of order. And it can actually feel in their nervous system very safe, instead of, from the outside looking at it and this is a narcissistic bully, right? Now, I will say, I want to caveat here that I'm talking about white Christianity. This whole psychological layout and a different Christianity.
You always gotta make
black women understood the assignment more than
you can't be racist. As soon as it's a patriarchal society that's brown, you can no longer have.
Well, you gotta go.
Your principles only apply to whitey. What's that?
You gotta hear her explanation for that.
Did I talk over it?
Well, we were laughing over it.
I don't know
a little bit. So just go back just a tiny bit, or I can just say it.
Voting for Trump, for example. For most of human history, black women were not protected by the dominant white patriarchal system. They were excluded from it. They didn't get that white woman power. They didn't get those pretend places of power that white women got.
A little bit, but it's okay.
It also doesn't set you up.
Go ahead.
It basically, what she says is that black Christianity is more a form of resistance.
No,
it's just black Christianity good, white. She's like, Christianity bad. Wait. Okay, I should caveat here that when I say Christianity bad, I'm obviously, you should know this. It's implied that I'm talking about white Christianity. Black Christianity good because it's.
I'm so tired of their bullshit carve outs that they make on their principles for it sounding racist in any way to.
Narcissistic bully, right? Now, I will say, I want to caveat here that I'm talking about white Christianity. This whole psychological layout that I'm doing today is about white women. Black women have a different relationship to power in America and a different Christianity, and so that produces a different result. So black women understood the assignment more than anyone else when it came to voting for Trump, for example. For most of human history, black women were not protected.
They still got to do this TikTok talk. She has a whole thing where she rants. And is this the one where she rants, or is it the next one where she rants about it not being slop to watch slop reality shows? It was either in this one or that she was talking about septum piercings. She has one about septum piercings, and
I've heard her rant about that a lot. And the first time I heard it, I thought she was joking, but no, she's not joking. She gets really mad at people who say that it's slop to watch trash reality.
Well, unless there's parts you want to jump to, I'm getting to the point where I got to get out of walking an impatient poochie. But was there anything else in this you remember that was sufficiently stupid?
I don't remember where it was, but one of my favorite quotes is that so she does the same thing with masculinity and femininity as she does with race here, is that femininity good, masculinity bad, but also Jesus good, so Jesus must be feminine. And she says the reason that we can accept the femininity of Jesus is because it comes with a penis.
Oh,
it's It's like, well, obviously Jesus is feminine because he's good. But we couldn't have a woman do it because she starts talking about how she loves it when women leave the church because and anything they do, she's like, it's I love it when I can get women to be like start doing things with the occult. With the occult, you're an atheist. What do you talk? You don't think it's real. Like they're not doing anything when they cast spells. And she talks about how Christianity doesn't have any female gods. And she's like, I know people will start jumping to Mary, but Mary is real. She caveats out why like reverence toward Mary is still just upholding patriarchal structures and how we can't worship Mary like we worship Jesus because Jesus has a dick. It's just so I don't know. She's always said retarded things here and there, but this entire episode and I watched a couple more episodes after this and it was just there's not a place I can tell you to jump to because it doesn't stop. There's not a place
it's just stream after stream after stream of
it's just horse shit.
Because it's just from a faulty premise. It's just the premise of it is wrong. So every single thing she says from there on, even if it's based in something that's like real science or real studies or real whatever, it's wrong because she's fitting it into her incorrect premise of the universe and world and cosmos. Ooh, this is it.
Talk a little bit about. I'm a scientist, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the problems that are happening in science and how intellectual diversity is implicated. So the most important thing I think is on the intake. So we just heard from Eric about affirmative action for conservatives. I don't think I would go there, but I would try to dismantle the systems that are preventing conservatives from participating in the scientific pursuit. And so one thing we heard about this morning is DEI statements, and these are sort of ideological tests that are screening out people. There was a study cited on this panel about willingness to discriminate against conservatives. That's, I think the study that was referenced is by Eric Kaufman, but faculty will openly admit in surveys that they will discriminate against conservatives in hiring, and they refuse to have lunch with someone who is pro-life or voted for Trump or associate with them in any way, for example. And then this sort of continues down the line with things. So if someone comes out with heterodox opinions, then they'll be disinvited from giving seminars. They'll be have trouble getting tenure, and people won't collaborate with them. It becomes difficult to get grants. These are sort of the ways that this starts to affect the scientific pursuit. Eventually, it can lead to corruption of the science itself. So I've recently seen a seminar on decolonial feminist science, and what that means is you apply the scientific method, but if it leads to a conclusion that's inconsistent with feminist or decolonialist theory, then that negates the scientific method. And so that's a pretty basic corruption of the scientific process, and that's becoming popular now.
Yeah, that's what it is. The feminism, if it doesn't align with the stuff, if it's not in line with the message, it's not true. It's not real. It's fake.
Obviously.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else that just wouldn't be like a whole other jag into a whole different areas, I guess. So I should call it there. I was just trying to see if there's anything funny along those lines, but maybe a Ryan Long short or something. I think I did have one somewhere. But yeah, one of the things that's so frustrating about that is I know that you feel this and we feel this and so many people in the chat feel this, is that I do not feel adversarial towards women at all. I feel adversarial to that type of feminist thinking and theory and that sorts of shit. But I feel 100% like working with and around and for and on behalf of the women in my life, especially if they don't turn everything into that shitty competition right there. Oh, I did have here. Here you go. Let's do Ryan Long real quick.
About Gen Z feels like it's making fun of them.
Like, no, wrong one.
You show.
Screw it. There was.
What?
Nah, it wasn't on the subject. I thought he had one about talking about chicks doing stuff, but it was the wrong one. But I had this other one about arguing against the cosmos, and I was trying to find it, but it's not being found, so I didn't categorize it very well. So I might just have to call it good. So yeah, there's this other just like really good like short little video about starting with your priors that are arguing against the existence of the cosmos, or things that are just part of reality, and how it just leads you down a path of like, but you can like almost take all those arguments and understand that that's what they're arguing for or against. Here it is. Come on, no sound?
No.
Well, again, here's why talking politics with the modern left feels like banging your head against a wall. Anyone who has ever tried knows the feeling. You present facts, evidence, or plain common sense, and what comes back is a wave of emotional outrage. The worst part is that it's no longer possible to live a normal life without running into politics. Schools, workplaces, museums, sports, entertainment, universities. Every corner of life has been swallowed by ideology. We live in a society held hostage by people who insist their fantasies outrank reality. And the reason is simple. We are being tyrannized by delusions. Most people debate from reality outward, but the modern left debates from utopia inward. This inversion comes straight from the Frankfurt School, the intellectual factory that produced nearly every strand of woke dogma now embedded in academia and the public sector. Their central idea was the utopian horizon. Imagine a world without hierarchy or domination, then
or patriarchy
for failing to match fantasy. Once you understand this, the entire ideological landscape snaps.
And any moment that it didn't match the fantasy up to that point was a conspiratorial oppression. Like that needs to like be added into stuff. Like every moment until it arrives at that utopia was a conspiratorial oppression devised by the patriarchy and religion and capitalism.
Focus. They argued that the family reproduces hierarchy and must be reimagined. Schools must radicalize children against power structures instead of educating them. Culture manufactures consent, therefore culture must be engineered. Even language encodes power and must be bent to social justice aims. In this worldview, every institution is guilty unless proven innocent, and innocence is impossible because the benchmark is utopian perfection. So critical theory always finds oppression. If a system works, it's stabilizing power. If a system fails, that's also power at work. If people consent, they're duped by power. If they dissent, the system shaped their frustration. It's a closed loop. You're not debating ideas, you're debating someone who believes the real world is illegitimate by default. Modern offshoots, such as critical race theory, gender theory, decolonization studies, and feminism, all use the same engine. Imagine a utopian world. Identify gaps between their imagination and the real world. Declare those gaps as oppression, then demand society must be remade. This is why discussing politics with the modern left feels like arguing with someone who's hallucinating. They construct a perfect world in their mind, one without conflict, cost, trade-offs, or human nature, then label anything that falls short as bigotry, privilege, or violence. The obsession with race, LGBTQ politics, feminism, and decolonization is not random. It's the metric they use to measure how far reality deviates from the dream. You're not arguing with people who misread the world, you're arguing with people who believe the real world is wrong for existing. Here's
yeah, that was that.
I like it.
Utopia, says Steve.
We missed a good one. Troy up there said, hypothesis, the amount of complaining about the patriarchy is inversely proportional to its actual presence.
Yeah. I don't think there's patriarchal systems like for real in the world and all that sorts of stuff, but you know, just
I actually use that hypothesis on other things. It's the amount of complaining about anything is inversely proportional to its actual presence. Like, when's the last time you heard somebody say, "I have a lot on my plate," and they actually did?
That's true.
Like I know a guy.
I can give you one. Keep going with that, but.
I knew a guy whose wife and son both died in the same year, and he just got into a bad wreck. I have never once heard him say, "I've got a lot on my plate."
Yeah. the person who's complained they haven't eaten anything all day. They almost always have.
Oh yeah.
Oh shoot, what were we going back to? What it actually is with all this sorts of stuff is the grift has to get stronger the closer it does get to being way better for what they're asking for.
Yes.
I mean, that's what we're watching. Like they win everything, so they have to triple down and get 10 times more angry to keep the grift going, to keep the, because I think I saw Bill Maher just talking about that with one of the people on the left this week. Like, are we not allowed to say anything's gotten better at all or any sort of thing like that? Like, no, it's not the utopia yet. But yeah, what World War III? Oh, that was your name this whole time. We hardly even talked about Taco and Iran, man. I mean, I guess we're not up with the times. But you think the war? You think the war is going to start? You think the ceasefire's done? You think we're saved?
No, I think Israel's annoying.
Yeah,
we did a ceasefire, and they're like, "No, we're going to keep bombing."
Yeah, what was that supposedly about, the bombing in Lebanon and stuff in Beirut? Because I only saw like little bits of people trying to justify it. Because initially, from the other side, all they said is like it was just a willy-nilly bombing out of nowhere. And then
so
some
the
people
Lebanon
said it was Hezbollah or something.
The Lebanon thing, Israel is bombing Lebanon, and Iran was saying, no, the ceasefire says you can't bomb Lebanon, and Israel's like, no, we can't bomb you. We can bomb Lebanon.
Why are they bombing Lebanon? Hezbollah?
I don't fucking know.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go down that whole route because I don't. All that stuff, like one of the things that drives me crazy on either side of it is people going and talking about like they have actually all of the information to assess from. Like they go and say that they have these things. Like there's this article from the New York Times of people talking about things from happening inside the administration. Like how many times has the New York Times has been wrong about what's going on inside the administration for the past 10 years or stuff? Like whichever side it is, now all of a sudden you're supposed to say, okay, yeah, they for sure can tell us right exactly what's going on everywhere. Like nobody actually has the stats. It's all just fag of war. And so then the people are arguing from things that are obviously not 100% the truth. So I feel like it's like you almost can't even assess anything. So Starbase Colo had the best one. The amount of kings protests is also inverse to the number of kings.
Yep.
Yep. All right, you see the dog going nuts. I cannot believe his internal clock, man. Like he has a timer on this thing. Like it's 11 and he starts.
He's pretty fucking good at that.
He's crazy. He's good with his food too. He knows right when food time is. So I got to go take him anyway. So thanks for hanging out. Sorry I bugged out there.
No, you're good.
And in 2 weeks, I've got a gig on a Thursday night at the Hog Wallow here in Salt Lake. If anybody wants to go to it, but I will not be able to stream on that Thursday night. So if you and Flip wanted to try to do something, or if you wanted to take a night off, we'd take a night off of it or whatever. But I can't
think about it.
Or it's also the same time of year. It's actually pretty close to the same gig too of when you guys got Maven on for the Notorious for our most watched channel video. So maybe some sort of wild card like that could come up again.
Yeah, we'll get Maven back, I'm sure.
Somebody else, get Divas, get somebody else will come on, face the fire. Alrighty, I gotta get running.
All right.
Thanks.
Wait, are you gay?
Oh.